welcome to Horror Addicts Live. I'm Gory Movie.
I'm Danny Nightmare.
And I'm Canadian Jason.
Zach Bird.
You know him as Canadian Jason. We know him as Zach. He's also the guy who did our theme song, the song that you just heard.
Yeah.
So today, guys, we're going to talk about what we've been watching since we last checked in with you. This is going to be a monthly stream that we do where we talk about the horror movies that we've been watching and give you guys kind of a short review on each of them.
Can't put videos of everything we watch, unfortunately.
Because as horror addicts, we watch a lot of stuff, guys. We watch a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. That was a voice that needs to not be done. And I should mention that we have just finished every month we do a movie commentary. We did President's Day today with our Patreon, so we're about 5 beers in. We're a little drunk.
We've been watching a really bad slasher and getting kind of wasted, so.
Yeah, we just watched a terrible release. I guess let's talk about President's Day first, since that's the one we most recently watched.
Yeah.
Corny as shit, but I did enjoy it.
I thought it was alright.
It's very low budget. It's very cheesy. I personally don't think I enjoyed it, but it was fun to watch with friends over beer.
Yeah. It's that type of movie. You don't need to take it too seriously. You don't need
the mic is loud.
Ooh.
Maybe that's better?
I don't know.
I don't know. We've been having just mic troubles all of the night. Alright, maybe just having it back a bit will be good. Isabel, let us know if that sounds a little bit better. Maybe having it back a bit will help. Oh, I know what to do. Here, you guys talk. I will figure this out.
But, yeah, I don't know. It's the movie you watch with your friends, you have a few beers, and you laugh at. It's good for that.
It's the kind of movie that you wonder what it would be like if you were on shrooms.
Yeah, that too. It had a killer Abraham Lincoln killing people at a high school who were running for high school president. So, President's Day. There you go.
Isabel, let me know if that sounds a bit better, okay?
It isn't helping. It's just too loud.
There will be a delay, and I just fixed it, so let me know. You boys talk about President's Day some more.
They used an axe, very Lincoln style, I suppose.
Alright, they said that's better.
Okay. Yeah, the killer, he's got a weird zombie Abraham Lincoln mask on. He goes around killing a bunch of high schoolers. There's a big high school president election coming up. Vote for Pedro, I guess. The one main girl who's like most likely to win the election, she looked like she was about 40 years old, but
you can tell it was definitely made by like a group of friends who loved horror but maybe didn't have the best budget.
No.
But the love for horror is evident in this film.
Yeah, at least they try to tell a story, and I guess that's E for effort.
E for effort.
Yeah, because there is like certain movies that just don't, and they shit on the whole process like that. The other movie. What the fuck was that movie again?
Oh, you didn't like Pool Party Massacre.
Pool Party Massacre.
I liked that one, but President's Day is a indie film that came out in 2010, in case you guys are wondering.
So every time I do like a live stream, here's the bar. Here's Pool Party Massacre. Here's Shining. Dead President's right there.
There you go.
It's above that. I don't know how shittier you can get.
Where's Silence of the Lambs?
Silence of the Lambs, middle.
Oh. Expected higher from you. You're such a Hannibal fan.
Now, Rogue Reaper in the chat, and by the way, hi Bearded Slasher, Michael Villegas, hopefully I pronounced that right, Shaniacal Reviews, hi to our buddy Dino, and Spiritman Studios. I don't think I've met you before, but hey buddy. And, of course, Isabel. Rogue Reaper, yes, we watched Open House 2. We were not crazy about it, but you can find a review to that one on our channel.
Yeah, we reviewed it posted a little while ago.
Hey, Channel Sundown.
I like how Bearded Slasher says he's the North Carolinian Jason.
Carolinian Jason.
So, the next one we're going to talk about, let's go ahead and talk about, I am so sorry, Shaniacal. I am so sorry. Let's go ahead and talk about The Ritual. That's one a lot of people have been talking about.
Ritual is actually probably my favorite movie of the year so far. It's between that and Mom and Dad.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, too.
I'd say The Ritual might be actually a slightly better movie, and it's got a really awesome twist that I didn't see coming in a sense.
Now, The Ritual is a 2018 movie. It's based on the Adam Novell novel of the same name. It's one that is currently streaming on Netflix. Hey, Victoria! And it's a very interesting movie. It starts off kind of like a movie you've seen before, kind of like Blair Witch Project. It's a bunch of friends who have lost one of their college buddies, and they are getting together to go on a kind of a hike through the Swedish mountains, and they take a shortcut, which you should never do in a horror movie.
To get back.
And they end up getting a little bit lost and finding some bizarre things in the woods.
Yeah, they go up there, they got his picture, I think some ashes, they put a little memorial up there because they talked about going when he was still alive, but he was killed tragically in a convenience store, murder, robbery gone wrong.
And what's interesting about this movie is it deals with a lot of Norse mythology. You have the Jotun demon in it. I'm not gonna spoil it too much for you, but essentially there is a cult of people who worship this. So we go from kind of a Blair Witchy type movie to a very different kind of film, a very
dark Viking lore type.
Yeah,
film.
and I will say a few things. The monster looks awesome. It is CGI. It does look very good. It's very unique.
They don't show it too much directly, so that's a good thing. It doesn't have to get overexposed, but they show you enough where you're very satisfied.
They keep it in the dark, which is smart. The characters are all great. I think you pull for a lot of these guys. They're very average type guys that I think are relatable, which is something I appreciated. And I love the way that this movie is put together. There are a lot of flashbacks because this is a movie that's about grief, primarily about grief. And some of the parts I love the best is where you see the forest, and then you'll start to see like the aisles of the gas station convenience store pop up.
Yeah.
And it's like this mesh between this flashback of this convenience store where the friend died and the woods.
That reminds me of a lot of the windmill massacres where they would kind of hallucinate to see things like that out in the woods. It's done a lot better, though. It's done a lot better. But
And they describe the demon, the Jotun, in this. It's not exactly, according to a friend of mine who, is Asatru, it's not entirely accurate, but how it's described in the movie is he's a bastard son of Loki. And he's a demon that kind of feeds on grief. And so people who are truly in a lot of pain, it will choose these people to worship it, but pretty much anybody else is used as a sacrifice.
Yeah, and you better kneel.
Yes.
Will not
It's
be
a
happy if you
very
don't.
big demon, almost kaiju size. I think it had some good scares in it. I think it had wonderful atmosphere. One thing, I think they developed the story a bit better in the movie, which is something that's rare when we see a book adaptation. But if you do decide to check out the book is a little bit different. It deals a little more with like black metal and that kind of thing. But if you do decide to check out the book has some beautiful descriptions of that forest that just make you feel like you're within that forest.
Yeah, and it has black metal, so yeah. But it sounds kind of like the movie, for the most part, went with some good choices on what they changed up. So I'm happy with that. Usually a movie will make bad choices, but no, in this case, I think they made it actually a little better in certain areas. And yeah, I was kind of went into it thinking this is going to be kind of maybe a Sasquatch film of some sort. But no, it's a lot different, and it's really good. I really enjoyed it.
Have you seen The Ritual?
Not
No.
yet.
It's on Netflix. You got to see it.
It's crazy.
Next up, let's talk about The Midnight Man.
Bye Bye Man meets Jumanji, maybe, but not as good as Jumanji, no. But a little better than Bye Bye Man, in my opinion. A little.
Now, The Midnight Man is based on the Creepypasta story, which the Creepypasta story pretty much just outlines the rules on how to play the Midnight Man. And from my memory, it's you get a piece of paper, you put your blood on it, you write your name, you have to have your fear ready. And then I think you have to knock a whole bunch on the front door. And the Midnight Man will come and he will follow you, so you have to keep moving throughout the house. And you have to have your candle lit, but if your candle blows out, then you need to surround yourself with salt. So it's very strange and convoluted. It's a little overly convenient how the Midnight Man is able to attack them, and he does break the rules. I would say the best part of the movie is we have Lynn Shay in this as the leading protagonist's grandmother, and she does a great job.
I don't know, she still has never scared me more than she has in Kingpin, though, to Woody Harrelson, but I love Lynn Shay, she's awesome. It has a great opening. I love the opening. There's this, a kid that explodes like a grenade, and they had the balls to do that, and I thought that was a pretty cool way to start the movie. It slows down. It's not that great overall, but no, I wasn't expecting much. I thought this was going to be the next Bye Bye Man movie that I was just going to hate and probably throw a half a star on it at the end of it or whatever. But no, it was better than that. It's not good, though. It's what it is. I felt it to be so-so.
I would say, I mean, we have no intention of reviewing The Midnight Man, but The Midnight Man is one to skip. It also does have Robert Englund in it, but despite the talent in this movie, Lin Shaye and Robert Englund, I don't think this is a movie that's really worth your guys' time.
Robert Englund, he didn't do much. He just kind of shows up to kind of add the body count for a sense. So it's like, hey, look, it's Robert Englund. If you're a horror fan, you'll love that, right? And I do. I love when movies do that. But I also love when horror movies really give these horror icons something more to do than just that. Just to be in the movie to say, hey, look who's in the movie.
Now, as Spirit Man Studios mentioned, we recently saw Night World, and Robert Englund is in that too. And that one I enjoyed a bit more. That one's a little more of a Lovecraftian story. Night World stars, I think it's Jason London. I always get him mixed up with his twin brother. But he's recently lost his wife, and his buddy tells him that he needs to kind of get back out into the world. And so he accepts this job at this very ancient hotel where he's given a room, he's given everything he needs to survive. All he has to do is watch these cameras for a room that nobody is allowed in, which seems just like the most bizarre thing, until he starts to see things happening on the camera. And then you find out that this room is essentially a gateway to the afterlife. Very Lovecraftian, and has some intense mythology in it. It could have been better, I think, but with the budget, I think they did the best they could do.
Yeah. And Ariel, I agree. Bye Bye Man was shit.
Yeah, Bye Bye
Big old
Man.
smiley shit like that.
Bye Bye Man and the Midnight Man are
Similar?
like close cousins.
I'd say Midnight Man is better, but still
Slightly.
very skippable. Like, you're not missing much if you don't see it. If you do see it, just don't rush out to do so. Like,
Quick shout out to our buddies in the chat here. Great to see Ariel and Laura from Laura's Looney Bin. She hosts the Freaky Girls Live every month, which is always a lot of fun, and Confused Reviews. So, hey guys.
and yes, Ariel, I will have another full moon review up very soon.
Every full moon without fail, Ariel. You can count on that.
There isn't actually one this month, but there will be 2 next month. So
Now, Shaniacal, I haven't seen Insidious Chapter 4. Neither of us have, but it is on the watch list. So we'll get back to you on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Have you seen Midnight Man?
Not yet.
Have you seen Insidious 4?
Not yet.
Have you seen it?
I'm slacking.
And just to update you guys, this is Zachary Bird, Canadian Jason, also the guy who performed our theme song. So
He performs this stuff. He doesn't watch it as much.
Yeah. Well, recently I've watched Winchester, and then
Oh, well, talk about Winchester.
talk about Winchester.
We haven't seen it.
Danny and I have not seen Winchester, and I
Win-
just want to say really quickly, hi Dice Rollin', that chick is hella cool. Check her out. Also, I'm happy to see the last Trick or Treat here. I haven't talked to that guy in a while, but great to see you, man.
I saw Dice Rollins' hour on the crawl, and she's so punk rock.
She's fucking awesome, and she's a really funny gal.
yeah, Winchester was very, obviously it's not, it's not a slasher flick whatsoever. It's just a straight up ghost story.
And that's a 2018 release, and the story of the Winchester is that the woman who is the heiress to the Winchester rifle fortune, she believes that she's haunted by the people who were killed by the rifles.
Yeah. Loosely
and
based.
so to deal with them, she keeps adding onto her house, and starring in this is Helen Mirren.
You kind of learn that she recreates the rooms that they were killed in. That's why the rooms don't stay up for very long. And there's just some weird rituals that you kind of learn that have been documented when you read about the Winchester. And I'd love to visit there one time. That was one of the intrigues of...
Where is it located?
It's in California. It's near San Francisco.
I knew the Real House was. I figured the movie was too. I haven't seen it, though.
Yeah, it's... the story is around the time of the 1908 earthquake, and they kind of incorporate that in some type of way. I like it. I'm a really big fan of horror movies that revolve around like a real thing. Like,
Yeah.
because
loosely based on truth in a sense.
Yeah, it's really
Based on something that's actually existing in the world.
Yeah.
And this is a real house that you can visit.
I would love to visit the house.
Yeah, I would love to visit the house sometime. It's definitely I would love to spend the night in the friggin' house.
I think I'm too scared to spend the night
From
in the
what
house.
I heard, like, she kept people making additions to the house up until she died.
And the house doesn't make sense, right? Aren't there like staircases within rooms that go into rooms that don't lead anywhere?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, and some of those, like the most famous one is the staircase that goes into like a fucking ceiling.
Yeah, just
and they have that. That's prevalent in the movie.
It reminds me of the
you kind of
famous
see
painting.
where you kind of see the scene of why that was built, and not to give too much away, I guess that's where like a slave was killed, and the ceiling was, I guess it was just like a shed, like I don't know, some type of I don't know, it was like a basement or something like that, and they killed it right there. And so it has like some weird stuff like that, and it's it's definitely, I would highly recommend it.
All right. Well,
Awesome. Well, Danny and I might have to do a let's go see of the Winchester soon, if it's still out. I'm not sure if it's still out.
Dean and Sam are in it,
should
right?
be.
I'm a little disappointed that Dean and Sam Winchester aren't in it.
Oh, they're not in it. Oh, damn it.
They're not, man. It's about old lady.
Oh. Well, she was a crazy old lady from what I heard. Like, there's like only one picture of her that exists. Like, someone like kind of just took it without her permission. Yeah. Like,
quick shout out to Stephen J. Atkins, who, good to see you, man. He was a big supporter of the Crawl, and also my kid brother, Zigma51.
it kind of reminds me of the hotel, like, Dark Water's based on, where that lady really just disappeared in the elevator, and then they found her in the water tower, which makes no sense how she got in
That
there.
happened after Dark Water, though. It's just a coincidence.
Oh, well, shit. But yeah, that's crazy. So yeah,
Rogue says apparently she thought she was cursed and had to build the house continually to appease the spirits that were killed by the Winchester rifle. So I'm very interested in the real legend. The movie I've heard some mixed things about. I get a little nervous about those kind of Blumhousey type releases, but I am going to check it out.
This one was pretty good. I mean, I'm really skeptical when it comes to horror films.
Yeah.
Like,
you're a hard critic.
Yeah, I just, and I found that it kind of went kind of like a straight line. There wasn't too much bullshit. It was just, straightforward. This is the
Here's
tale.
the Winchester house. It's haunted. There you go.
It's the story that incorporates everything. You kind of learn why the house was built in such a weird way, and it was easy to follow, and it was just, there was some thought into the story, and the writing was really, the writing was, like, as far as like the dialogue and stuff, it was prominent to that time. People actually speak how they spoke in those times, and the dialect and
accurate.
Like that, so.
What time period is it set in?
1908. Like 1900s, 1908 kind of screams at me because I think I remember that.
We actually used to live in a house.
The turn of the century, of the 19th century or whatever, 20th century.
Hello to Ron's from Savage Rock and Roll. We just watched President's Day with our buddy Ron in Patreon. He's part of the horror family, so good to see you here. And Zigma wants to know, my kid brother wants to know, Danny, what happened to your hair?
Who wants to say? Who wants to bump my hair?
Zigma.
Oh yeah, that was very recent. It was probably right after we did the VR.
Yeah, we went over to my brother's house recently, and he's got the whole Oculus Rift set up, so I played Wilson's Heart.
I played a Paranormal Activity.
Mummy was there. Danny played a Paranormal Activity game, but I will warn you, Danny doesn't get scared of anything.
I tried.
He's not as ridiculous as I am, but we did play Paranormal Activity, and I played Wilson's Heart, so we will have some VR games coming soon.
I got pretty lightheaded.
It makes you feel a little motion sick after a while.
Oh yeah, you should come over with us one time for it.
That'd be fun. My brother lives over nearby here now, and Moses like.
Nice.
A lot of people have been asking us to do a VR Resident Evil ever since you did that one.
Is there a Resident Evil VR?
Resident Evil 7 VR, yeah.
I
don't know.
That'd be killer.
I don't know if it's exclusive to the PlayStation VR, but...
And related to the Winchester, which we were just talking about, I have to agree with Rogue Reaper. Why have they not on Supernatural visited the Winchester house? That
should have been an episode.
That should have been season 1.
I'm only up into season 12, I think, but yeah, that needs to happen. That needs to happen soon.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ariel. I'm glad you like my hairstyle.
I think it looks good. It's nice and fuzzy.
I think it's just like it's been warm because I did the same thing.
Yeah, he cut his hair like basically the same day.
I just like went to the butcher shop.
I went to the man shop. Like,
the man shop? Yeah,
from Spokane, you say they have them there too?
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
I cut my hair off recently.
The only problem with the man shop is that like they'll blast like Tool and shit. And
what's wrong with that?
Nothing, but it's like you have a lot of good music playing as I'm getting my hair cut. I kind of want to start headbanging. I'm like, oh, shit, I can't do that. It's like, don't headbang.
The next movie I want to talk about is Victor Crowley.
Ooh, Victor Crowley.
Victor Crowley was a film made in secret by the original writer-director of the franchise, Adam Green.
My hero.
It is about a slasher killer who was born disfigured. He lived in hiding with his father in the woods. Then, due to some bullying locals, there was an accident where they set the house that Victor lived in with his father on fire. Victor was locked in the house. His father goes to save him, and in trying to hatch it down the door, he kills Victor. And then he ends up killing himself, and Victor comes back as a spirit, constantly just forever looking for his dad, and mutilating the fuck out of people in the process. Now, if you've watched the first 3 Hatchet movies, Victor is killed off, finally by Danielle Harris.
After a weekend massacre.
But he is resurrected in Victor Crowley, the newest film that came out last year in festivals and this year on DVD and VOD. And this, I gotta say, as far as I consider it, Victor Crowley, like a lot of franchises, eventually have their big comedy installment. You know, like with Friday the 13th, you get to Friday the 13th Part 6. And that's pretty much a horror comedy. Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel about Victor Crowley. This is the horror comedy installment of the franchise.
Freddy's Dead.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't know if that.
It's better than Freddy's Dead.
but this one is very funny. All of the movies up to this point have had some humor, but this one's very much a horror comedy.
Mm-hmm. I would say the first... the original trilogy Hatchet is a little more serious. Don't get me wrong, Adam Green makes a lot of people laugh throughout that entire trilogy. He directed the first 2, and he had a friend direct the third one. But they have their moments. They all make you giggle one way or another.
He still wrote the third one.
Yeah, he still wrote it and produced it. He oversaw everything, basically. Adam Green, but this one, it's like almost starting up like a new trilogy called Victor Crowley, and it's 10 years later, because the first 3 take place in like a weekend, basically. And then they're like one day after. They just keep going right after. This one's 10 years later, after that whole giant massacre, and Victor Crowley has been risen from the grave once more to kill people in so many horrific ways.
And I think this is kind of what we need to make, because Victor Crowley, despite how good those movies are, I don't feel like Victor Crowley has quite become the icon that Freddy, Jason, Chucky...
but not
shit, even Sam has become more of an icon, Sam from Trick or Treat, than Victor Crowley. And I think continuing this franchise on, having him resurrected once again, having a horror comedy installment is exactly the way to go. I hope this franchise continues on. I had a lot of fun with this one. I'm going to tell you guys a few things. You know, if you've seen the Hatchet franchise, you know that Hatchet is all about buckets of blood. I'm not talking about liters of blood. I'm not talking about cups of blood. This is buckets of blood. What up, Auntie Creeps? Sorry, I've had like 6 beers, girl. But good to see you. A lot of my friends are in the chat here. I'm just really happy to see Dice Roll and Auntie Creeps and Steven and my brother. And you guys were amazing. And our buddy Jason, the Bearded Slasher. Mm-hmm. But Victor Crowley... not only do you get buckets of blood and tits, but there's dong droppage right from the fucking get-go.
Of course. Real quick, I hate to jet out of here or something like that.
Oh, you gotta get going?
Yeah, I gotta get going, but I'll be in the chats and stuff like that. So
all right.
We'll see ya?
Yeah, I might pop in.
You got killing to do?
I got killing to do.
Got some slashing to do, dude.
Yeah,
I am so sorry to cut into your work day.
Killing is his business, and business is good.
If you're in Twist and somehow you're watching this, I hate you.
Okay.
Later.
Yeah. Canadian Jason, go check out Crowfeather Productions.
Yes.
It's on YouTube. Please subscribe to him. He's got
Absolutely.
awesome videos on there.
Yep.
He is Canadian Jason. He is a guy who has been killed numerous times on this channel in many of our sketches. And he's also
spoiler
the
alert.
guy who plays guitar in our theme song. So
Yep.
very talented individual and somebody we love,
Spoiler-
and we hope you love him
Yeah,
too.
spoiler alert: Canadian Jason and Gory movie are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, hate to break kayfabe, but in real life we are pretty good buddies.
So,
We've always kind of like Gory's not his
It's kind of
friend,
been
but he's
alluded
her
to.
friend.
So.
He's been alluded. He's Gory's friend. She just doesn't get that. She doesn't
Yeah.
trust him. 'Cause he did murder me.
Phone.
He murdered me and Undead Jess. Unfortunately, I'm a slasher, and Undead Jess is a zombie, and we just don't stay dead.
You guys
So-
want a hug?
It's all right, buddy.
Thanks for joining us.
All right, I'll be in
Hopefully
the
we'll see you at next month's movie watch party. You just knocked all the Funkos over, dude.
oh fucking A.
And thank you for your Winchester review because we haven't seen that one. So
Yeah, we'll some if you guys do like a like a full on review, I'll be up for that one.
all right, sounds good.
Sweet. Oh, sweet. Fucking A. Yeah.
You can know.
Take it.
All right, man.
Bye.
Alrighty.
Blame Canada. All right, now you guys are just stuck with us. I'm so sorry.
The Canadians have left the building.
That was Canadian Jason. Holy shitballs, Dr. Wolfula is here.
We got Dr. fucking Wolfula?
Danny, how big of a Dr. Wolfula fan am I?
You are the biggest Dr. Wolfula fan.
I love Dr. Wolfula.
And I've been
Goulash.
very hooked on Dr. Wolfula lately, ever since basically his Thing review. That was so amazing, and I went back and watched all of his old ones after that,
Yeah,
too.
I love him. He's like an old school horror host. He's
Oh.
very funny. I love his live movie watch parties.
I mean, I admit it, I just found him fairly recently, but dude, that guy is shit.
If you guys are not already subscribed, you will find him in our feature channels. So check him out. He's amazing, but you probably already are. Cause
Yeah,
like,
I mean, almost anybody.
he's kind of a big deal.
the pinnacle of horror YouTube, basically.
Yeah, Isabel, he's got to go to Tim Hortons and remember his dad. Holy
Oh.
shitballs, Doc the Metal Freak is here.
Doc is in there. He's in. Doc, we'll be having my pickle video up very soon.
That does not sound right. You know that,
I need
right?
to eat a spicy pickle because Doc, he got a point over me on the Royal Rumble. We were both
Danny
very
has
close.
a wrestling channel.
I think I got 8 out of 10 right, and Doc got 9 out of 10 right on the Royal Rumble.
You can do it. I ate the spicy pickle last
I think
time.
I'm gonna pour a little death sauce on it because you said it wasn't very spicy. So
You should pour some sugar on it and
pour
go all
some
Def
sugar on you.
Go some Def Leppard with it.
Ah.
Ew, you know how I feel about licking. So let's talk more about Victor Crowley. So Victor Crowley, one of the things I love about this movie is if you are a horror fan, especially if you follow a lot of Adam Green's work, you're going to see a lot of people you love in this movie. You've got Felissa Rose, who she's also in Family Possessions this year, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. She is the leading gal, or guy, however you want to put it, from Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah.
She is in this. She plays the agent for the lead, which is Paul Shen? Damn it, I'm getting his name wrong. I know I'm butchering his name, but the guy who's been in all the Hatchet movies. Gosh, what is his name? Is that Paul Shen? Somebody in the chat help me here.
I think it's Paul Shen.
It's something Shen.
He's great. He's in all of them. He's played 3 different characters, but
Harry Shen. There we
Harry
go.
Shen. Yeah, he's played
So,
3 different characters in the Hatchet.
Harry Shen
franchise.
has been in all of the movies so far, and this is the first time he's ever played the same character twice. He's playing the character that he played in Hatchet 3.
He survived.
He's back, and as Adam Green puts it, he's the final girl of these movies. We also have one of my personal favorites, Laura Ortiz.
Oh, I love Laura. She's so cute. Even when she pukes on a window, she's adorable somehow.
She's fucking adorable. She's like the only chick who can like tell a straight man that she has a dick and they'll still be in love with her.
If you saw the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, she's the slightly deformed girl who like ends up betraying her evil mutant clan to kind of help the people, and she sacrifices herself on
She's
the end.
still adorable. And
And
she's
I
in
loved her in that.
Holliston
Oh.
as Joe's girlfriend.
That's when I fell in love with Laura just in Holliston. She was so hilarious. She's making these like crazy paintings that are so violent and brutal, but she just looks at them like they're cute little little kittens. Like, what?
Yeah, and of course, if you probably guys already know this, Victor Crowley is played by Kane Hodder, more famously known for playing Jason Voorhees.
Very brutal
ever
Jason
since Part
Voorhees.
7 up until Freddy vs. Jason.
Kane is probably my favorite Jason, which Ted White is a very close second, and so many other great people have played Jason. Like, it's so hard to choose, but he is my favorite because he's the most ruthless and just straight up, I will kill you.
I feel like with a lot of the Jason characters, particularly like, you look at Part 2, where you've got Steve Dash and Warrington Gillette playing it, and he's a manipulatable character. You know, she's able to put on the sweater and convince him that she's his mother. You can't fucking do that with Kane's Jason because he is angry, he's pissed, he's there to kill people.
If little Corey Feldman would have tried that bullshit on Kane Hodder Jason, he would have been squished up into a basketball and thrown into a hoop, you know? It's like...
And yes, Zigma51, my kid brother, Perry Shen is the final girl of this franchise. He is the one consistent character through all of them, though I will... tell you guys, stay tuned at the end of Victor Crowley because there is an after credits scene where we get to see Daniel Harris's character again.
Still alive. Damn.
You can't fucking kill Daniel Harris.
Would you want to?
So, talking about the Hatchet franchise, I'm a big fan of Part 1, and I love that there are so many shout-outs to the original Hatchet in this movie. There's a lot of inside jokes here. We also get to see Arwen Green, Adam Green's little Yorkie, who is adorable.
She got name-dropped in the first one. Her name has been written on things in other ones, and even in this one there's like a little boat that says Little Arwen on it, but she actually makes an appearance at a book signing where there is a dong dropped, as we were mentioning.
You guys know how I feel about that, right? I love me some dong droppage. I have to applaud the movie because it's kind of a accepted thing that when people meet celebrities,
sign my boobs.
Yeah, I've never done that. If I met Dr. Wolfgula, I might. Just saying. Be prepared for that if I ever meet you.
I don't know how I feel about that. But.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, women are constantly showing... My boobs aren't big enough to sign.
Oh, hush. Anyways, go on.
But women are constantly showing their boobs to celebrities and saying, sign my boobs. Well, in this movie, a fan comes up to Perry Shen, who's written a book about his experiences in the Hatchet franchise. And he's like, yeah, well, you signed that girl's boobs. Sign my dick.
Yeah.
Why doesn't that happen?
Old fat guy with his little... fat bald dick.
I finished
it on the book.
I finished writing a book, and if that thing gets published and someone wants their dick signed, I would be flattered. I don't know if I would do it, but I would be flattered.
I'd be like,
I think that's...
I will sign with an X.
That's one of those situations where you do the Corey Feldman thing, and you get the stamp, and you just stamp the dick.
Oh, yeah. Corey Feldman, he will, when you get autographs from him, he stamps a price on there, so you know how much you paid for his...
Dick move, Feldman.
Dick move, indeed.
But in Victor Crowley, you're going to get a lot of laughs. You're going to get all the nudity, buckets of blood. I know some people have said that it ends abruptly, but I believe we're leading up to another Victor Crowley installment.
I feel there's going to be a Victor Crowley trilogy since there was a Hatchet trilogy.
Yes.
Like, there was 3 that took place right after each other, and now there's going to be 3, I think, that take place right after each other as well, 10 years later.
Absolutely. So, it ends abruptly, but I feel like the way it ends, it's... If you guys remember An American Wolf in London, you remember how they ended that when you have David as a werewolf, and he's approaching his love, and she's trying to break through to him, and you see that he's just about to attack her when the cops shoot him, and then all of a sudden it ends abruptly, and then you get that ba-ba-da-da-da-bang-a-dang-dang-a-ding-a-dang. That's very much how this one ends. It ends kind of like on this weird cut, sort of kind of emphasizing the joke. But I think the point here is that we're going to see a lot more Victor Crowley.
Oh, yeah. And who sang that song? Didn't he get a singer that? The
singer of the song in this is the singer of the theme song of Shocker. I cannot remember his original band's name, but Adam Green's favorite Wes Craven movie is Shocker. I love Shocker too. I don't care what you guys say. Fucking Shocker is my jam.
It's a good movie. It's silly, but
Shocker is original.
Adam likes silly.
It's quotable. It's fun.
Yes.
I love me some Shocker. It's not my favorite Wes Craven film.
I love me some Shocker as well.
But I love Shocker better than some of the other ones like People Under the Stairs. Hey, Matt Reyes, another big supporter there. Nice to see you, buddy. So, Shocker is fantastic. Adam Green loves Shocker. And this movie was dedicated to Adam Green and George Romero.
Adam Green, Wes Craven and George Romero.
I am so sorry. It's dedicated to Wes Craven and George Romero. So I had a bit of a brain fart there. I'm like on beer 7, guys. Beer 7.
We just got done watching President's Day, which required a lot of alcohol.
Let's not forget we were up for 24 hours yesterday.
Oh, yeah. We had a busy weekend.
So, yeah, oh my gosh, I love that too, Bearded Slasher. The Marilyn Manson song is pretty awesome. I love in part 3 how we open up with Genocide from Gwar.
Yes, which...
Adam Green has got some good fucking taste in metal.
Him and Dave Brockie were very good friends before Brockie passed away, so...
We love Gwar. Mm-hmm. We just did an album review of that. If you guys are not familiar with Gwar, it's time to get familiar, guys.
Yeah, I just reviewed their latest
Our dog is named after Dave Brockie.
Mm-hmm, so...
But talking more about Victor Crowley, it's dedicated to Wes Craven and George Romero. Wes Craven, because he had just passed away. George Romero had not passed away at the time the movie was made. Adam Green, who is... One of the reasons I love Adam Green is he's a big horror fan in addition to being a great horror creator. He loves this genre just as much as all of us here do. I mean, we're all big horror fans, and he is one of us. Mm-hmm. He met George Romero, and George Romero said, hey... Where's my next Hatchet movie, buddy? Yeah. You need to make another one. And as Adam Green put it, when George Romero tells you to make a movie, you make a fucking movie.
Yes.
So he made that movie, and unfortunately, George Romero passed away just a little after it was released. George Romero did get a chance to see it, but the movie is dedicated to him because George Romero was the one that gave him the idea to make it. The hidden title of this movie is, I believe, Arwen's Fancy Feast?
Yeah, Arwen's dinner.
Arwen's Fancy Dinner.
Yeah, which was because he was hiding the fact that he was making it. But George Romero, he passed away right before it was released, but he did get to see like the rough cut of it. So
hey, Jason takes a Megal. What's he saying? Talking about censorship. Yeah, lots of piracy, but yeah, Victor Crowley, you're gonna get to see fucking everything. You guys are going to get your kills, you're going to get your nudity, you're going to get your laughs. So that's one that we highly recommend. Is there anything else you want to say about Victor Crowley?
It's my favorite franchise installment of the year so far. But we have Halloween coming in October,
so... We have a lot to look forward to. If I were to rank the Hatchet franchise, I will do this officially at some point, but I would probably say my ranking is not going to be probably the popular one, but I would say maybe 1, 3, Victor Crowley, 2.
That's my actual ranking, so...
Hot damn!
But I give Victor Crowley and
That's where I married you, man.
Like, I think star ratings are very arbitrary in a sense, and I don't like... That's why we don't use them in our actual reviews. We have them for Letterboxd. And in my Letterboxd, I have both them with the same rating, you know?
I just thought of something. I don't even know where the fuck Dr. Wolfila lives, but if we do meet him, we need to have him sign your chest. Then I can look at it.
And Dr. Wolfie is in the chat, and we just don't have a star rating. We just say see it, own it, and buy it and stuff, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, we keep it simple, just whether we think you should see it, whether we think you should skip it, you know, if it should be killed with fire.
Yeah.
Or if you need to buy it.
I love Dr. Wolfila's rating system where he'll be like, I give this a severed arm out of like a kick to the balls or some shit where it makes no sense.
I give this Felissa Rose's severed head out of so-and-so.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I love his rating system because he I
think we probably already scared Dr. Wolfila off.
I know, but if he is still in there, I just want to say that his rating system is awesome.
Phoebe Lorelei is in the chat. Hey, girl.
What's up, Phoebe?
Well, anything else to say about Victor Crowley, or are we moving on?
Adam Green has kept his franchise going strong.
And Danny has met Adam Green, and Adam Green is...
nicest guy.
Such a nice guy. Very relatable. It's just like if you go up to a fellow fan at a horror convention and you just feel like you've made a new best friend, that's what meeting Adam Green is like.
I met him at the Barbecue where Dave Brockie had his Viking funeral. And we got to hang out for like 2 days, kind of. He actually let me listen to this message. First, he played it for everybody over a microphone that was there for the attendance of the thing. But then, yeah, see? And then later, Wolfie's still there. He's awesome. But then, yeah, later he played it again for me privately. And he's like, yeah. And then I was like, oh, you going to be here tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. And then I saw him over in the area where people got to be that, you know, were part of the show in a sense. And he came over there and jumped over the fence and hung out with me in, like, just the normal area for a long time.
What's wonderful is because Adam Green was a huge horror fan as a child. He's a huge horror fan now. and he has absolutely no ego.
No, he gave me his autograph for free, and I'm like, I want to buy an autograph. He's like, oh, they're free, always free. I'm like, well, I was going to get a couple of them, one for my friend and stuff. And he's like, I'm like, I feel bad, like, asking you for multiple autographs for free. And he's like, I don't give a shit, man. The fact that people want my autograph is, like,
I've met a lot of horror celebrities, and I will say that most of them are all wonderful. But, yeah, there are some who, they kind of know that they have a little bit of pedigree, and they're a little more intimidating. But if you meet Adam Green, it's like just making a new best friend.
It's the opposite of intimidating. It's like someone who's just way too nice, almost. It's like...
Want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Shadow, one of my buddies from the Slut Pit, who's here. Good to see you, man.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
And next, I want to talk about one that maybe a lot of people in the chat haven't seen. You watched it last night. I watched it about a week ago. It's Family Possessions.
It's a good way to go because it still has Felissa Rose. In fact,
yes.
After I got done watching this...
Side note, follow Felissa Rose on Instagram. Speaking of people who have no ego, who are wonderful to meet, Felissa Rose is a complete and total sweetheart. I know what you're looking for. We've met Felissa Rose a couple times now. She's going to be returning to Crypticon Seattle this year in May.
I got her to autograph this curling iron where it says, "Up yours, Felissa Rose."
Which she did for free.
Yep.
And the reason I asked... I did.
I did, actually.
It was my idea.
No,
it's my idea.
I did it.
Okay, we did it together as a couple.
It was my curling iron, technically.
It's your grandma's curling iron.
I stole it from my grandma.
Are you right here on the street?
Anyways, she was a doll. That's the point.
She's lovely. And the reason we decided to have her sign our curling iron is because our favorite kill in Sleepaway Camp is when she shoves the curling iron up the girl's vajingo.
Coochie.
Which I don't really understand how that would kill somebody.
It would hurt really bad, though, right?
It would hurt like a bitch.
It would, like, you wouldn't ever want to pee again, probably.
I don't think you could do much of anything with that part of your body again, but I don't see how it would kill you. Maybe from shock. But I love it. It's a hilarious kill. And so when I met Felissa Rose, we had her sign that, and she said she'd never signed one before. She is a complete and total sweetheart. She'll do the whole sleepaway camp face for you and stuff. She's just absolutely no ego.
Yeah, in fact, last night after we watched Family Possessions, I Facebooked on her wall saying, I just got done watching Victory Crowley a couple of days ago, or a while ago.
Yeah, she follows us on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, I said I just got done watching Victory Crowley recently, and I just now watched Family Possession, and I just want to say, you're not just a face, like, on an iconic cult horror movie. You actually are a great actress who, like, has a lot of range, because the characters were way different from both of those movies. And then she wrote me back right away with a big heart on it saying, thank you so much. And then, like, I told her that we're going to Crypticon. She's like, I can't wait to see you guys in Seattle again.
I mean, guys, come on. She married her biggest fanboy.
Yes.
The lead, is it the singer from CKY?
CKY. He's not the singer anymore, but he was at the
Former
time.
singer of CKY was the biggest Sleepaway Camp fan, kind of a little bit stalkery.
But
he finally met her. They fell in love. They have, like, 3 kids now.
The moral is that you can be a creepy stalker as long as you're also just as famous.
Or if you're good looking.
Yeah, if you've got a successful band or something going on, you got something there.
And if you're good looking.
Because, like,
it probably helps to have a decent, dong. It doesn't have to be a certain size.
Well, I don't know if she knew about that unless he was sending her dick pics.
I'm just saying, if you're Felissa Rose and you've buried your fake dong in a movie, I would be like, drop trow, bro.
But anyways, I'm super happy for them. They have, like, so many kids together, and they're just an amazing power couple of rock and roll and horror, so.
Phoebe, we've actually met the Soska sisters, too. And again,
Yes.
wonderful people to me. I really hope that you also get a chance to meet them. I know in this month's Bandbox Horror, it's been hinted that we're going to get a Soska sisters autograph.
I'm still trying to get us on Hellevator.
Oh, I would love to be on Hellevator. If you guys don't know about Hellevator, it's their reality TV show, which we don't watch a lot of reality TV.
Kind of a game show, though.
But the whole family, us and Lulz, are addicted to Hellevator, where you go into this game show where they just try to scare you to death.
Yeah, and if you can push through and solve the puzzles, you get all this money, but if not...
But our drunk asses have gotten a little segued.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Family Motherfucking Possessions.
Oh, yes. Alrighty. Family Possession.
Absolutely, guys. Matt Reyes would love you to sub his channel, so check him out. Another great horror fan there. Also, I gotta give another shout out to Dice Roland. I do not know why the girl does not have 1 million subscribers, but she's fucking awesome.
I discovered her very recently, too, because of the whole horror awareness. And
I found her first.
I know you did, but...
I was like, dude, remember that? I was like, check out this chick. She's awesome.
Yeah.
She watched Silver Bullet.
Uh-huh.
I thought like only I had seen Silver Bullet.
The Save Horror Tube has really helped. Like, I knew a lot of people, but now I know even more people, and I really like
We've
that.
made some really good friends. A lot of people reached out to us, like Ivan from the Movie Void, who he knows his shit, and he's really funny.
Yeah.
And I love, when it comes to horror, I love My Blood and My Guts, but I like a lot of comedy too. If you guys watch our show, we tend to review highly a lot of horror comedies, and so when I watch other reviewers, people who are funny tend to be my favorites.
Mm-hmm. So just big thanks to like Emma, Bloodbath Beyond, Screaming Soup. They've helped, not just we have, but a lot of people have. Anybody who has like helped with the whole Save Horror Tube awareness in general and done their part.
Yes, Mr. Shadow, we've seen Silver Bullet, and check out Dice Roland's review of Silver Bullet. If you're a fan, you're going to dig that. She's in the chat here, so go check her out.
I've met Gary Busey, and yeah.
The Gary Busey film, Surviving the Game, was filmed in our town. My father actually worked for the police station, and he got to meet the cast and introduce them to the jail cell that's used in the movie. And
my father got to meet them too, and that's how I met him, because my dad was the manager of the theater, and the alleyway where Ice-T's dog is killed, that's right behind the theater alleyway, so they came into the theater and everything and hung out. I was very actually nervous to meet Ice-T. I didn't actually, because he's a cop killer, and I didn't want to talk to him. I was like, oh god, he's going to cat me.
I don't think he's really a cop killer.
I know, but that's all I knew as a kid. But then I was like, oh,
White boys, am I right?
Yeah, I'm like, Gary Busey, he's from Silver Bullet and stuff. He's awesome in Predator 2. And he like ruffled up my hair, and he's like, come here, kid, and gave me a big old hug. And I was like, ah. And now that I know more about Busey as an adult, I'm like, I should have been more afraid of him than Ice-T.
You really should have.
But
even his fucking son, like, I'm a big fan of both of them, but it's sort of like when I go to the zoo and I look at lions. I love them, but I ain't gonna fucking touch them.
Oh yeah, but that's Gary Busey.
We digress once again.
Once again, we go on to just stories.
We're on like beer 6, guys.
Family Possession. It's a small, little, low-budget film, but
very low budget, very indie, and the title is a bit of a pun.
It is more of a pun than it actually, like, you're expecting, there's going to be a lot of possession in this movie, like it's ghost possession.
Advertised as a paranormal possession film. I personally would call it more of a slasher.
Yeah. I don't want to give away too much of the ending and all, but...
No. We don't want to spoil it for you guys.
It is fun. It is
no spoilers in this stream, we promise.
It's fairly campy, but they don't... That's what's good about it. Like, if you can't have, like, the most serious movie, then don't try. Just have fun with it, and that's what I love about it. It has good charm. It has good. It's got what's his name from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Mark Patton.
It's the first movie he's done since
Mark Patton, first movie in 35 years. He was Jesse in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I love that movie. I love Mark Patton. I've met Mark Patton. He is a doll, and he plays the most hilarious barista,
Queen?
Yeah. In this film, he's just sassy, he's got attitude, and I loved every minute.
They have him teamed up with this bitchy teenager, like, high schooler, like, she's...
he out-queens her.
But he's teamed up with her, and therefore she is, like, likable because she's friends with him. Though there is a little bit of a cattiness even between the two of them, but...
Catching up with the stream really quick, I have not met Count Christopher before, but thank you so much for supporting the stream, and thanks, Sharknado. I got this from Sharp Punch, like a mystery box. Great to meet you guys. And OCD Horror is here. And yes, we are big fans of the Scream Radio app. I love Reverend Hagen. I love Tracy. I love Auntie Creeps. Mr. Black Pasta. Scream Radio is a free app you guys can download for your phone. And you get 24 hours of horror. So definitely you need that.
Highly recommend it. If you can't see my shirt, it says Springwood High School Slashers from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yep, and we got that.
Freddy Claus.
Shit, I can't remember who sent that to us. Somebody sent that to us.
In one of our boxes of awesome shirts.
Isabel makes a really good question. It's, what horror film do you guys think could use comedy to make it better?
At some points, like, that's one of the...
One movie I want to see remade, and I love it, but it would be wonderful as a horror comedy, is The Bad Seed.
Yeah, that'd be great, actually.
I would love that.
Kind
of like a Jawbreaker, Heather's, tilt to it.
there's a lot of franchises where, like, you're never going to top number one in a certain sense. Like, I heard this about Jurassic Park recently, and I agree. Just kind of go off the top. Don't go, like, Busta Rhymes beating your main villain guy. That's with ninja kicks, but go off the top with the humor at least. Go fun. Jump that shark and enjoy it, you know? Like,
I think with any filmmaker and any artist, whether you're a YouTuber, whether you're an author, whether you're a filmmaker, whether you're a musician, I think you need to take risks. And maybe the fans won't appreciate everything particularly as much as your last project. But if you don't take risks, I don't think you're really trying to create. Because I think creating art is risky. It should be risky.
It's dangerous in its own aspect. And making people laugh isn't easy. So if you can make me laugh and make a scary movie at the same time,
a lot of filmmakers have said that making someone laugh and scaring people are two of the hardest things you can do.
Yeah, so
quick shout out to Justin. Hey, we haven't met you before, but wonderful to meet you.
But yeah, like Child's Play, I feel like I love the original Child's Play, but I think humor has helped that series continue to go on.
And yeah, it's like what we said with Victor Crowley. Family Possessions, you are going to get a few laughs in this. This is not a horror comedy. No. What the film is about is there's a family. There's a mother, father, teenage daughter, and a preteen son. Mm-hmm. And the daughter, oddly enough, I mean, she has been writing the grandmother, who is apparently in a retirement home. She's been writing her, but when the grandmother passes away, she leaves absolutely nothing to her son, the patriarch of this family. She leaves her house and everything she owns to her granddaughter, who she's never even met in person.
So they all move into the house. The granddaughter, though, like, kind of wants to move away to go to college, but her dad and mom kind of convince her, no, we got to stay in the house for at least a little while.
She's just telling them that eventually, like, not to get too comfortable, that she can't, because the condition of this inheritance is that they only get to live in the house as long as the daughter lives there. If the daughter moves away, the house gets liquefied and all of the assets are donated to charity.
Yeah, which is pretty noble, but... So she's like, okay, family, her dad and mom are kind of on hard financial terms. We'll live here for a little while, get back on your feet, and then I'm out of here, and we're probably going to sell the house and whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're okay with that, like, you know, as long as, like, they give them some time. But the house seems very haunted. There's also, like, a slasher type thing on the loose. I don't want to give it away too much, but you got to watch it. It's a serious movie that doesn't take itself too seriously. And the budget's not all there. It
really isn't.
But
you can tell that these people who made the film, and I apologize for not remembering the filmmaker's name, but you can tell that they had a great time. I mean, yes, I prefer bad practical effects to bad CGI. Too many beers, guys. CGI any day. And yes, the practical effects in this, you can tell that they've used mummies. You can tell that they're using corn syrup, that it's all very low budget, but there's a lot of charm here, and you can tell that there's a lot of heart. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I really have to commend this movie for is it has a very original storyline with a lot of twists and turns. We also mentioned that Felissa Rose is in this, and she acts her fucking pants off.
Yeah, she plays a character that's very different than what she normally gets casted as, and that's what I really appreciate about this movie, because as I was saying, like Victor Crowley, I love how Adam Green and even Rob Zombie, they will cast tons of horror icons, and there's a lot of little indie horror movies that will do this. They'll be like, oh, well, we got what's their name from like part 2 of this franchise or whatever, and it's good fanboying out for that and stuff. Like, here you go, here's some fan service, but that's all they're usually brought in for. I like how this movie, because they brought Felissa in to actually act, to actually have a role and part.
She plays a single mother who is doing her best to support her daughter. She's also a bit of an alcoholic, but despite the fact that she has maybe not a whole lot of screen time, I feel like her character had a lot of depth.
It's very deep, and that's what I like. I like it when they're brought in to actually act. I just like it when... Don't get me wrong, I enjoy fan service. You throw Tony Todd in like a movie, it's instantly better. Kane Hodder's in this movie, okay, I love it. Robert Englund's in this movie, I like it. Daniel Harris... Even if they're just little cameos, it makes the movie better. But I love it when it's not just cameos. It's here to actually act, because that's what they are. They are actors. They are actresses. I want to see them perform, you know?
Absolutely.
And I want to see some range sometimes. So That's why I had to actually message Felissa. I'm like, this is actually really awesome.
So, Family Possessions, it came out in 2018, stars Felissa Rose, Mark Patton. It is low budget. I will say most of the performances outside of Mark Patton and Felissa Rose, they're not the best. These are people who've never acted before. This is a very original storyline. It's got a lot of love in it. And if you are a fan of the horror genre and you don't mind something that's maybe a little low budget, that's got more heart than maybe talent in places...
I don't know who the final girl is, but she did a good job. I think everybody else, they felt real at least.
And there's a lot of twists. Honestly, the storyline seemed like something I would read in a Fear Street novel. And I say that with the utmost love, because I loved those novels as a teenager.
Stan had some good Fear Street.
So I would highly recommend checking out Family Possessions if you have an appreciation for indie horror.
So we're going to move on to Keep Watching?
Oh, fuck me.
Keep watching, people, please. We're going to be talking about Keep Watching now.
It's time for Keep Watching, kids.
Almost.
So, Keep Watching, if you guys have heard of it, it's been in the works for, 3 years now?
Yeah, it's kind of been pushed back and edited.
And whenever a movie gets continually pushed back, I need to stop drinking.
Pissed back.
Whenever a movie gets continually pushed back, you know that there's something wrong with it. The producers know that there's something wrong with it, and that's why they keep pushing it back. I think the mistake of pushing a movie back like that is you're letting your audience know that there's something wrong here. We all saw that with The Bye-Bye Man. We have seen that continually with a lot of other films. Sometimes, like with Amityville Awakening, I was pleasantly surprised. I actually thought that was a pretty decent film. Keep Watching was about what you would expect from a movie released in January that's been pushed back for 3 years.
And to be fair, there have been great movies who did get pushed back. Trick or Treat, but that wasn't because the movie was bad. It's because they didn't want to compete with Saw, and then it just kind of got lost in the void. Mm-hmm. But... yeah, usually if it is pushed back, there's a reason. Maybe sometimes it's studio meddling, but Keep Watching. I don't get how it's hard to get into this movie because it always brings you out knowing that the killer or killers or whatever that kill people while live streaming this, and yet they have 100 different hidden cameras throughout the house.
And that's the biggest flaw with Keep Watching is with any film, with any book, with any fiction, there needs to be a suspension of disbelief. And this movie, it's asking, for me anyway, it's asking too much.
I need to believe that there's a camera in the push buttons of the microwave somehow.
And the alarm clock. And yet nobody in this home has noticed any of these hidden cameras.
Unless they are intended to.
The filming is creative, but it's jarring, and it's very hard to get into.
Yeah, so, I don't know. It's not the worst acting.
I actually, say what you will, I like Bella Thorne.
Mm-hmm.
I think she does a pretty decent job.
Yeah, she was in The Babysitter. She's great. What's his name? The cool uncle in this.
Lee Winnell.
Yeah, he's
you
good.
Remember him from Saw.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like the acting is horrible, and it's got fucking Dr. Fantastic in it.
Oh yeah, from the Fantastic Four movie.
Not Four-tastic, but Fantastic Four or whatever.
Fantastic Four.
The original Fantastic Four movie and sequel. So the acting's not horrible. It's so unbelievable, and it's just nothing I've haven't seen before in a sense. Just done worse.
And the story it's very similar to The Strangers in a lot of ways.
Strangers, but then throw in some cam videos that I've seen tons of times too.
Wait, what cam videos?
Just movies that involve being watched. What was the Fear Inc. and shit like that? It's I've seen stuff like this done better.
Yeah, and that's the thing with what?
What was that one? Don't Stop Watching? That wasn't good either. But I've seen
Don't Hang Up.
Yeah, stuff like that. Those weren't good either. But I've seen this plot a lot.
It's a movie you've definitely seen before.
And I wouldn't say it's horrible. It's just it's not good.
It's not good, and the problem is that you don't really invest in the characters, and it's making a point that other movies have made better.
Mm-hmm. The little twist ending's okay, but once again, been done better. I've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
So just watch Saw or something better.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with OCD horror that there's a pregnancy subplot that I thought was completely unnecessary.
And there's no closure on that at all.
Absolutely no closure. It's completely just tossed in there.
It's just in there for the fuck of it.
So Yeah, I would have to agree. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, it is a lot like Night Trap, Isabel, but Night Trap's 1,000 times better. You're
Yes.
better off watching a Let's Play of Night Trap than keep watching.
I got Night Trap recently because they had the 20th anniversary, 25th anniversary for PS4, and I used to have it for Sega's CD or whatever. So maybe Sega Saturn. I had it for one of my old Sega disc consoles. And yeah, Night Trap is 1,000,000 times better, even though that's got like putties from the Power Rangers who want to drain your blood with these weird hook guns. But still better. Still way better.
Anything else you want to add about Keep Watching?
Don't watch it.
And the kills are pretty weak, too. I guess that's
They're
the
not-
other thing I could add. I mean, if you want to see Death by Drone, you're going to get that.
Yeah.
I wanted more Lee Winnell, and I guess more originality.
It had a couple of moments that were okay, but it's not. I still can't say see it. It's still a skip it. It's close, but it's not there.
To Count Christopher, yes, we love Japanese horror. I recently reviewed Norai the Curse. I love a lot of movies, like I reviewed Sadako vs. Kayako. I love the Ring movies. I love just a lot of, not even just Japanese, but Asian horror.
Mm-hmm.
But I love Ichi the Killer.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck. I love Old Boy, Audition.
We should review Ichi the Killer one
Ringu.
day.
Just they've had so many great Asian horror films out there. Ariel.
Also,
no, we haven't
Korean
watched
horror, like Train to Busan, The Wailing, and A Tale of
South
Two
Korean
Sisters.
horror is really knocking it out of the park these days.
Absolutely.
Like I would have said 10 years ago that J-horror is where it's at, but now I really think South Korea is where it's at.
I think right now South Korea is really on the cutting edge.
They are on fire! Ariel, no, we haven't watched Tragedy Girls yet. We almost have. It's on our list, and we keep putting it off, but
The trouble is when we when we
when we watch a movie,
when we download a movie from like Voodoo or whatever that we know we want to review, we put it off because with those movies that you rent, you can only watch them once before they're gone, and
we want to take notes, and
we want to take notes. We want it to be fresh when we review it, and we just have been so busy with a lot of other stuff right now that we haven't been able to sit down and watch it, because that's one we're looking forward to and we really want to review.
I want to talk about it quickly, but not a whole lot on the stream because we have a review almost up. But Mom and Dad, I just want to say real quick that it is caged, uncaged. Nicolas Cage.
Absolutely. Mom and Dad was a real pleasant surprise. It was one of our most anticipated of the year. Mom and Dad is... There's essentially kind of like a radio signal. It's kind of implied that's coming from, cell phones, TVs, radios, that is making the parents of this suburban community want to kill their own children, and not just children in general, but their own children. Mm-hmm. And it really only affects them when they're near their kids. But beyond that, they're still polite. They're still waving at the neighbors. They're still...
They go through their day-to-day like everything else is normal, but they want to kill their own kids. They don't want to kill other people's kids.
It turns like the worst aspects and even the best aspects of their personality up to an 11. So you have this family, this, formerly punk rocky kind of couple with this teenage, son and daughter. And the mother is getting very practical, and she's like, let's use the saw-all, because it saws all, to break into the basement where the kids are hiding. And then Nicolas Cage is just completely lost it. He's walking through the house, singing nursery rhymes. He's got Fruit Loops on his freaking face.
Lance Henriksen stabbing him in the ass.
And that's the thing. Even Lance Henriksen, who is the children's grandparents, who's Lance Henriksen's father, when he gets there to visit the family, he's fully intent on killing Nicolas Cage's character.
And it's almost like a Benny Hill scene where, the kids are running, Cage is chasing them, and Lance Henriksen is chasing Nicolas Cage, and it's just... It's great. We're going to have a more full review on that. We just want to let you know. So.
We went all out on that review, and one of the things I will say about Mom and Dad is if you've seen it, please watch it again. There's a lot of hidden layers.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things you might notice on a second viewing that you didn't notice in the first. We certainly had that experience.
We've seen some interviews, and we're hoping there's going to be some good commentary when it's out on Blu-ray and such. So.
Very much looking forward to that. But that review will be out very soon. It'll probably be our next review. It's just been a little delayed. To Matt Ray's, no, I have not seen Meadowwoods.
I have not seen Meadowwoods.
But definitely let us know what it's about. Maybe we'll check it out.
So what do we got next for what we've watched recently?
What is next?
Delirium.
Oh.
Okay, there's a bunch of movies called Delirium. There's actually 2 this year that's called Delirium. I think the other
one hasn't come out yet.
One hasn't come out yet, but it's still scheduled for this year. The one that just came out recently this year called Delirium is...
We already got thumbs down in our stream.
oh, well, fuck it.
Whatever.
It's probably...
Oh, hey, Scream Crack!
Probably somebody from Keep Watching.
Scream Crack says, Bella Thorne's Scream topic, though. There's, like, no half Ghostface and half Brandon James mask. Do I think... I didn't actually know there was a Scream 5 in the works. I do know that there is going to be a Scream Season 3 of the television show with a whole new cast and characters, but I'll have to look into that.
I don't know about a Scream 5. Well, I liked the fact that Wes Craven got to make all 4, you know?
Yeah, that would be certainly something I'd be nervous about.
And I love how... You can say what you want about Scream 3 and 4... But they never quite jumped the shark. They're not, like, horrible anyway. They might have, like, coasted at that point. But they didn't get, like, ridiculously bad. They didn't go to space. They didn't do a bunch of stupid shit. There's time travel in one of the Stab movies, I hear. But, yeah, it was made by the same people. It has the same actors in them. That's one of the things that it's hard to find a franchise where they can have 4 movies that do that.
Or where they keep the same cast, they keep the same producer, they keep the same director, they keep the same writer.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do.
So, I don't know.
The closest to Scream would be maybe Chucky. Yes, Tom Holland wrote and directed the original Child's Play, but Don Mancini, wrote the script that it was based on, and he's been involved from the beginning. So has the producer, whose name is escaping me at the moment.
Yeah, and I love how in Child's Play now, they're not making it for big studio releases, they're making it for the fans. It's a passion project, and that's what I love about the Child's Play movie.
Yeah, like OCD Horror says, I'm pretty forgiving with a lot of horror movies. It doesn't have to be high budget, it doesn't even have to have the best acting or effects, but if I have a good time, I'll give it a pretty fair rating. I think my ratings on Letterboxd are like, I'll give it like 3 stars to anything I just find entertaining. Even 2.5 if it has redeeming value. I'll reserve my higher ratings, like 4 though, for things that I would actually buy. But getting back to talking about Delirium was shit.
It was something I've seen a million times. They just copy scenes from better movies.
What Delirium is essentially about is you have a group of kids who, I don't know, you can't even tell one apart from the other. They're all the same personality, a bunch of frat guys who all look the same. And there's a dare where there's this haunted house that has a legend behind it where a man killed his wife and children. And they are daring each other to go up to the porch and knock on the door. Again, you've seen this 1,000 times before.
I'd say just watch Hell Week or whatever. One of those old slashers where it's the same plot. But
and, of course, they dare one of the guys to do it. He goes missing. They go look for that guy. And, of course, guess what? The house is haunted. And it's got shit effects, shit acting, shit story. I have nothing good to say about Delirium.
No, not really. It was pretty low bottom. Oh, thank you, Savage Rock and Roll.
Thank you, Ron from Savage Rock and Roll. That guy's our boy. We love Ron from Savage Rock and Roll.
Yeah, we've been talking to him all night. He's a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. We were hanging out with him earlier on our Patreon stream, and then we just Skyped with him afterwards because he's a cool cat.
Yeah, he was just kind of shooting the shit with me and Prozac, Canadian Jason, about some of our wrestling stories and shit.
Yeah, thank you.
He's a great guy.
He says, we cats rule.
Yeah.
I love it when people call me a cat.
Right? Meow.
Meow. And I also see another new face in the chat, Steve Testa, who wants to know how we feel about the new Halloween movie.
Looking forward to it.
Very much looking forward to it. I'm excited that John Carpenter's involved. I'm excited about Jamie Lee Curtis and Nick Castle. Mm-hmm. So right now, yes, I'm very excited.
And it wasn't the perfect movie by any means with the latest Alien installment, but it showed me that Danny McBride can be a very serious actor who can do well in a horror setting.
And like we said, the 2 hardest things to do in filmmaking is to make people laugh and make people afraid. And if he's got comedy down, I would say that gives him a leg up in horror.
It does. And like I said, I saw in the last Alien installment that Danny McBride has some acting chops that can go into serious horror as well. So
people got layers, yo. They got layers. We got layers.
Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with it. I know that it's the only problem with Halloween in general is so many movies are like, well, just ignore this. And that part is like, but then again, what are you going to do? Other than Rob Zombie reboot the whole damn thing again, but I don't want another reboot again, so it's cool. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it and everybody else involved, so fine.
I'm looking forward to it.
The Halloween timeline is already such a mess that it's not going to make it any worse than it already is. And if it's a good sequel, then that's what
I
I'm
think
going
it's
to appreciate it
exciting
for.
that it's going right after the original Halloween.
Like I said, it's already been a mess for a long time, so it's not going to make it a mess. It already is a mess. If it's a good sequel, then that's all that matters. So
I think so. And I mean, even in a bad movie, I'm always happy to see Jamie Lee Curtis return because she's horror royalty.
you'll always have your Halloween 2 if you still want to stick with that. It's not gone anywhere. It's just, this is an alternate version. They've already done that. With H2O was great, but it was an alternate version to your 4, 5, and 6. Which, I love 4. I hate to say 4 could ever be gone. 5 and 6, whatever. And then Resurrection, get rid of that crap. But
And our buddy Doc the Metal Freak wants to know, what would we pick to be the worst of the Halloween franchise?
Resurrection.
By far, Resurrection.
It starts off really great. I love the asylum. I love Jamie Lee Curtis. I love how there's that one guy walking around and he knows all these facts about serial killers, and when he sees Michael Myers, he says that. That was amazing. The first 20 minutes was awesome, and then it was the shittiest film ever after that.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, well, we're kind of in the MTV slasher generation, so we're going to make it a reality show, and we're going to have a rapper in there. And
Busta Rhymes kicking Michael Myers' ass. I don't know, dude.
trick-or-treat motherfucker spin kick like he's from Mortal Kombat or some shit.
I couldn't get behind that.
If you had an actual martial artist in the movie, I would have been okay with maybe that. Like, if you had Jackie Chan or Jet Li in the movie, sure, but Busta fucking Rhymes, I mean, the fact that he's, like, having a reality show, and if he was gonna rap, that'd been fine. I wouldn't have liked it, but it would have been fine. LL Cool J and H2O. He actually acted. He wasn't LL Cool J. He didn't have to look super fucking cool at any point in the movie, and have to beat up Michael Myers to be... That was fine. I didn't mind LL Cool J at all. That was great, actually. But Busta Rhymes, where it's like, it becomes his movie.
At the end of the day, it's still Halloween, so I will say, if you got beer and pizza and a bunch of buddies over, yeah, pop in Halloween Resurrection, you'll have a good time. But as far as ranking the franchises go, that one's going to be the bottom of the barrel for me.
Us. However, he's not here to defend it, but Undead Jess, that is his favorite one. Because I think it was his first one he ever saw, because he was young when it came out.
Yeah.
He's a lot younger than us, so that was actually his favorite one. Like I said, I love the first 20 minutes. I wish that would have been the ending of the movie.
Something I want to comment on really quick is OCD Horror says that the original script of H2O does connect to the rest of the franchise, and it actually did. There's a deleted scene in H2O where Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie Strode,
Talks about her daughter.
She talks about her daughter and the sacrifice she made having to give her daughter away for her own safety, and, also to go and change her identity and start her life anew.
And that worked out for her daughter really well.
Really didn't. Really
Please
didn't.
no, Uncle Michael. Please no.
That is our biggest problem with the producer's cut.
Okay, never mind. My actually worst Michael Myers movie, I guess, is the producer's cut. Just because of that.
It's so hard because the producer's cut has better editing than the original.
But it has better kills.
The story is ridiculous that Michael Myers would stop by runes.
Yeah, little rocks that have things on them to make him. In a sense, Dr. Loomis...
The fact that Michael Myers raped his
into...
niece just rubs me the wrong way.
Michael Myers shouldn't be having sex.
Yeah, I don't think he even understands how that works. Yeah, he bones his knees? Come on, guys.
And then he has like that who's the father moment when they're like, they know who's the baby, like, you know who the baby belongs to, and then Michael Myers has a shocked, like, even though he's wearing a mask, he has this shocked, like, what? I'm the dad?
Think of it, I have to agree with you. I guess the producer's cut and even the original theatrical cut, part 6, are probably at the bottom of the barrel. Like, I like
the
still
theatrical
Halloween.
cut a little
It's
more,
still...
but...
It's still a movie I own. They're both movies I own. I own the producer's cut and the original. They're movies I watch regularly.
And if I know somebody hasn't seen them, I'm gonna be like, well, we gotta put it in.
Yeah.
So
even the worst Halloween is still going to be better than some, a lot of other horror movies. But as far as this franchise goes, when you're comparing them to, the great films like parts 1 and 2, and they don't stack up.
Dr. Wolfie says Busta Rhymes is a gem. Well, he's a rare, shiny thing, I'll tell you that.
I do have to say, he did give a killer line. I love that trick-or-treat motherfucker.
Trick-or-treat motherfucker was a great line. I just didn't like the ninja kicks.
Yeah, and I also have to agree with Steven here. I never quite got how he was able to drive a car. I mean, he's a pretty bent kid, so who was going around teaching him how to drive a car?
If you go by the logic.
Actually, you know what I have to say is the bottom of the barrel if we consider the remakes. Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie one, that's the fucking worst.
Yeah, I don't like that one either.
If you count that one, that's the worst.
Don't get me wrong, I like the big wrestler dude who played Michael Myers.
Tyler Mane.
Yeah, Tyler Mane, he's great. There's things about I just hated it in part 2 where there was Ghost Mom and all this weird shit was going on.
When it comes to mommy issues, that's Jason's thing. My Jason has mommy issues. I think with Michael Myers, what makes Michael Myers so terrifying is what Donald Pleasance's character Sam Loomis said about him in the original.
Just
that
evil.
he tried for years to get through to him, and he realized that this kid had the blackest eyes, that he was inexplicably evil.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot scarier when you don't know why somebody is killing.
You can't explain it. It's not nature, it's not nurture, it's just he is.
Yeah, and I think that's more terrifying than giving him the mommy issues thing. The mommy issues thing is awesome in Jason, you know, because it kind of, I think, makes him a little more relatable, a little more sympathetic, but I don't want that with Michael.
Fuck, Savage, damn!
Savage!
Throwing all your money on us, man!
Aw, he made my heart grow 3 sizes. Did you just...
I'm Simoning from What Culturing here. That's why Savage Rock and Roll is awesome.
I love Ron from Savage Rock and Roll. I'm going to give you a hug for Savage.
Oh, thank you.
But that's for Savage, because I can't hug him.
I can't hug him either, so...
We love you. But yeah, like Dice Roland just said, the unknown is way scarier, because how do you get through to that? Like, Ginny in part 2 of Friday the 13th was able to manipulate Jason by pretending to be his mother. And
so was Tommy in a couple of his movies.
As a child, watching the Friday the 13th films, as somebody who was bullied, as somebody who moved here from another country, I always felt sorry for Jason, and I always thought, being somebody who felt like an outsider, I would be his friend.
Out of all the slashers, I always had the most sympathy for Jason.
I just thought I would be his friend, and same with Leatherface, that I would be his friend, and then he'd be like this cool big hitty guy who'd kill my bullies for me. But Michael is just terrifying. He doesn't want to be your fucking friend.
I had sympathy for Leatherface too, but he has his family. Jason really has nobody. He's got his severed mom's head. I always had mad sympathy for him. Freddy, he's cool, which is weird because he somehow tricked us into thinking that a child pedo killer could be cool. But Robert Englund is just so amazing that he did it somehow.
My ghoul Laura from the Looney Bin, she gets it.
Yeah, exactly.
She fucking gets it.
Michael Myers was supposed to be just inexplicably evil, and that's what his story was. Everybody kind of had their own unique thing.
And you need lots of different things because... what's the point in doing something that somebody else has already done? I love that with Jason. Leatherface has a whole different thing going on. But Michael being inexplicably evil, that was his thing. Whereas then you've got Freddy, who is sort of the killer that wants to taunt you, that is throwing salt in the wound. And, Chucky, who it's almost, Child's Play is such a fitting title because he's literally like a serial killer at play. And you have as much fun watching him as he has killing people.
How's it hanging, Phil?
Exactly.
That's my favorite scene almost.
What is the point in making one of them the same as somebody else, same as another one?
It's like Zombie picked up a square and he says, "This is a circle." So it's like, no, we already have a circle.
And yeah, like I said, as a kid who related to the monsters, as a kid who related to Leatherface, a kid who related to Jason, I guess it made them less scary. But
did.
Michael Myers always scared the shit out of me because I couldn't relate to him.
He would kill you no matter what.
He just had blackness inside of him, which gave me extreme reverence for him and respect, but also made him the most terrifying.
And if this is what he was going to do to his family, no matter what their age was, what the fuck would he do to you? Exactly. I mean, that's terrifying in a sense.
But moving on.
Moving back on.
Getting back on the track.
Delirium sucked. There's not much to say about it.
Yeah, I don't know how we got so off track.
It's a haunted house film. It's a haunted house film that just sucks. You've seen so many better things of the same stuff.
I have nothing redeemable to say about it.
There's a ghost lady who wants to make anybody who kind of ventures into her house her ghost children. That's all there is that's happening. It's not good.
Guys, we took that bullet for you.
It sucks.
We took it for you. Don't watch it. Like OCD says, I'm a pretty easy critic. It's not that hard to impress me. So if I say it's shit, it's shit.
Now I hope Dr. Wolfie is still in the chat somewhere right now because we are going to be
doing... I think Dr. Wolfie, that's too cool to be in the chat.
Well, we said that last time and he popped back up. Maybe.
I know.
It's kind of cool. The Cloverfield paradox. So here we go. And I've seen his review
really
on this.
quick, can I interrupt you really quick?
Yeah, go for it.
I would love to say hi to our very good friend Eric, the Death Twitch, who is, if you don't already watch him, this man knows his horror inside and out. One of the best things he's done recently is I loved his review of The Exorcist. He goes all out in his reviews. He is an extreme horror aficionado. He's been doing this a lot longer than me, a lot longer than a lot of other horror tubers. He's the real deal. And if you're not subscribed to the Death Twitch, you need to be.
Yeah, sub the Death Twitch. Good shit there.
I say this as I start slurring my words.
But yeah, I did actually watch Dr. Wolfield's his review of
Whatever, I watch everything Dr. Wolfield does.
his Cloverfield Paradox.
Just so you know, Dr. Wolfila, I was a fan of you before Danny was.
She was. She definitely was. I'm not taking credit. Like I said, I really got big into it when he did the Thing review, and
also
I went back
Dice
and watched all
Rollin'.
this stuff.
I was watching you first.
But anyways, I love Cloverfield Paradox, and that I feel kind of the same way that he did. So I'm kind of hoping he's still watching it. How do you feel about it though?
Seriously?
Jesus, Savage, he's just throwing cash at it. He's making it rain.
He's gonna make me cry.
Jeez.
He says, "Thank you, cats, for the great videos. Savage, rock and roll, Ron Bowers. Like we told you earlier, your family. You come up to Washington. You got a place to crash. We're gonna go look for Bigfoot together." And I can't believe Dr. Wolfield is still here.
He is. Yes. But I was watching his thing, and I kind of feel how he is. He's a big fan of the 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I love that. John Candy's performance just was amazing. My only problem with that movie was that the marketing spoils the ending in a sense.
Well, I guess to clarify more, yes, we are big Cloverfield fans.
Of all three, actually.
And one of the wonderful things about Cloverfield is the marketing. I still remember the marketing for the original Cloverfield where they didn't show you a whole lot.
I almost thought
you saw the Statue of Liberty's head crash onto the street, and you're like, oh, fuck, this is a fucking kaiju monster movie. Mm-hmm. And yet there was no information out there. In fact, Cloverfield is named for the street that the movie was filmed on.
Yep.
And I remember being so intensely curious about what is this that I had to see it at the theater, and I was very impressed. Still, that is my favorite of the franchise. Now, 10 Cloverfield Lane, the sequel, phenomenal acting. Best acting in the franchise by far.
Mm-hmm.
Killer story.
Awesome
but this
story.
is a script that was adapted to fit this franchise, and unfortunately the problem with it, and I'm not saying that it's a bad movie, I love this movie. I would have liked it better if it wasn't a Cloverfield movie though, because you are watching the film and you're wondering if John Goodman's character is a bad guy or a good guy, if he's right, if there's really monsters out there, or if he's just crazy.
Well, thankfully, if he's bad or good is not spoiled by it. But
yeah.
What he's saying, like, you can't leave because there's giant monsters and crazy shit going on outside, we already know that that's true because we've seen Cloverfield.
Yeah, we know he's right. We know that there's monsters outside, and the fact that it's called 10 Cloverfield Lane spoiled that. But it's still a wonderful film, and it's still my second favorite of the franchise. But that is not to say that the Cloverfield Paradox wasn't good. I really enjoyed it.
I would have to say Paradox might be my least favorite, but I still really like it.
But it's still solid. I mean, come on. Yeah. Return of the Jedi is my least favorite Star Wars. I don't count the fucking prequels.
We're talking about the original trilogy.
The original trilogy, but it's still a fucking Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it's still awesome. And that's how I feel about Paradox. It went off in a different way. They're all three very different in their own way.
Very different. It's almost like watching Black Mirror. It's a whole bunch of things set in the same universe, but they're very different.
Yeah.
Very different stories are taking place.
And there is weird time paradoxes going on, but it's, for the most part, I'd say a prequel. For the most part. Like...
Primarily
it's hard to
prequel,
say.
yeah.
It's hard to say like exactly where everything takes place. But
it ties in a lot to the other movies. So if you are an avid fan of the franchise and you've really looked at those Easter eggs, I think there's a lot of reward here for you.
I love the part where there's like somebody's severed arm.
Jesus Christ!
He's giving like all of his money. We're not taking out of like anything you need money for, right? I just feel bad at this point.
I'm so incredibly grateful, Ron.
Ron.
Savage rock and roll.
You are too kind, sir. Too kind.
I don't even know what to say thank you now. I just love that guy.
I was glad he actually got to join us on our Patreon thing this time. Like, he usually watches us, but he actually got to be on it. There's some technical difficulties.
What's the most sentimental song we know?
Fuck her gently.
You don't always have to fuck her hard. In fact, sometimes that's not right to do. Sometimes you gotta make the love and fucking give her some squeeze too. Sometimes you got to squeeze. Sometimes you got to say please. Sometimes you gotta say hey.
I'm gonna
I can't say that to him.
Gently.
Ron, that was for you, even though we admit we can't sing.
No.
But we love you, so we try.
We're definitely not the D, but...
Hey, Ben Grimm's here. I have not read the comic book connected to the first Cloverfield.
Matt, that is sad and depressing.
That is sad.
Sorry.
Princess Diana was a treasure of the country.
I wish you a happy birthday nonetheless. Was that today? No,
I don't know.
I don't know when Princess died.
I thought she died. I don't know. It was a long time ago. Anyway, getting back to Cloverfield Paradox, we've got two kind of stories going on here. There is a energy crisis.
Mm-hmm. And they're trying to make infinite energy out in space.
And so there's a team of people who are in space trying to fix that.
Got a super collider going on.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, one of the women who's in this team, her husband, I think, is still back, on Earth.
New York.
And shit just goes crazy. And he finds a girl, abandoned in the street, and he's trying to help her. And from being a fan of this franchise, that he is in a world where these aliens have finally, aliens, monsters, however you want to put it. I know in the original Cloverfield they talked about how these were creatures that had been beneath the sea for centuries.
At least that was the speculation that they had
since
going
maybe
on.
Dinosaur times, and then something woke them up.
And then in the new one it's talking about portals that will bring in demons and monsters. So.
And that's where I think a lot of people get lost with Paradox. It's like, do you dig on a multiverse?
Yeah.
It's going to really push that sci-fi aspect of it. There's multiverses in here. I'm not a huge sci-fi person. However, I was able to follow the story. Mm-hmm. And I think there's still plenty there for a rewatch. There's a lot here to dissect and discuss.
I watched it twice, and it made a little more sense the second time even through. I was able to follow it the first time, but the second time even things more clicked a little better. Plus, there's just parts to enjoy again. I love the guy's severed arm, and are you sure you're not controlling it? And he's like, well, I'm giving you the finger right now, so I know I'm not controlling it.
And that guy was played by, I apologize for not remembering his name, but it's the guy from the IT Crowd, which I love.
He's awesome.
The lead woman in it is from San Junipero from Black Mirror. Mm-hmm. Love her. Performances were fantastic all around. The effects were top notch. And again, I really need to, give them applause for their marketing technique. We've known that this, everyone in the horror community has known that this movie was coming. But they announced during the Super Bowl that as soon as the Super Bowl was over, you could catch it on Netflix. And that's fucking genius. Also because it is a movie that's a little polarizing, and that way you didn't have the critics ruining it for you. A lot of us went into this completely blind, we did. Mm-hmm. And it was nice to be able to make our own opinions without knowing what every critic in the world thought of it first.
I don't watch a whole lot of
Chris
football.
O'Dowd is his name. Thank you very much, OCD Horror.
I don't watch a whole lot of football, but me and Lols, we always watch the Super Bowl. We just get a bunch of pizzas and watch it. And that's Lols' only time to watch football, too. He doesn't like that much, but he loves Super Bowl just for pizza and funny commercials. And it was actually a good game, but yeah, we were super psyched soon when we saw that trailer drop saying after the game. We're like,
I'm a little embarrassed because I didn't watch the Super Bowl, and really the only sports I watch are, football, as in the whole world's football, not Yankee ball.
Football with a U.
Soccer, as they call it in America, and roller derby and wrestling. So, my buddy Lee from Drum Dums posted that it was going to come on after the SB, and it took me half an hour to figure out what the fuck SB meant.
Hi, DMC Campbell. I love your last name, man.
Holy balls! DMC Campbell, wonderful to see you, and I'm very excited that Wolfman's Got Nards is here. Wait, I don't know if it's the same Wolfman's Got Nards. At any rate, wonderful to meet you.
The picture's a little different.
It is a different picture than the guy we know who's Scottish and has a channel. If
Maybe.
you are the same one, let us know. If not,
still
great to meet
name.
you because
Wolfman
we
does
love
got
us.
nards. Yeah.
He does got nards, and we love Monster Squad.
Fucking love Monster Squad.
And if you're not already, you should subscribe to the channel Wolfman's Got Nards because he just knows what's up, dude.
But yeah. So, yeah, we like Cloverfield.
And a lot of people hate the ending, but for me, like, I knew what I wanted to see in this movie, and that ending shot gave me what I wanted to see.
And that kind of, like I said, confirms that it is a prequel in a sense. So.
Yes. So I loved it. It was very entertaining.
Looking forward to part 4, but I hear it's going to take place during World War II.
Really? I didn't hear that yet.
I've heard that. It's not, I don't know if it's confirmed, but that's a big rumor that it's going to take place during, like, World War II. So I don't think that's going to answer more questions than it is going to ask more, but we'll see.
That's definitely a different take on it, but it's wonderful. Like I said, it's like Black Mirror, where this really stretches on a lot of different aspects of this universe. This universe is being opened wide. So there's a lot of room for stories in here.
Yeah, and I think that Bad Robot is kind of doing a good job of when they have good movies, just slightly put them in that universe, so that's a safe way to release those movies, you know? Because sometimes if you release a no-name indie horror film, it's hard to get people to watch it, but throw that Cloverfield on there, and as long as it's slightly in the universe, then it'll be great.
I'm not completely opposed to that. I mean, Cloverfield 2 and 3 were spec scripts where the producers were like, hey, we can make this a Cloverfield movie. We just need to adapt a few things and fit it into this franchise. And I think we got a good movie when they did that with 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
I think we got a good movie when they did that with Cloverfield Paradox. Another franchise that's very famous for that is Hellraiser. Yes, most of them have sucked, but you know what? Revelations was written for that franchise, and it sucks the hardest.
Yeah, so...
But the one that had the guy from Nightbreed in it was pretty good.
Though the person who, like, scrawled out Revelations on the back of a menu, like, within a day, because they had, like, 2 weeks to film the fucking film, that's... they only made that movie to keep the rights to it, so...
Thank you, Savage Rock and Roll, for pimping out our Patreon. There's only 15 of us in there, but we are a tight-knit little horror family, and there's always room for more.
We watch movies every month. Savage Rock and Roll is always there. We just got done watching...
Our Patreons pick a lot of our reviews for us. They give us a lot of feedback on what we do, so we really rely on them for helping us.
They helped us
kind
go
of figure out what we want to do with our content. And I gotta say, like I said, to you earlier, on the days where I'm feeling insecure or I'm feeling lazy and I don't know if I want to film a review today, or I don't know if I'm,
have it in you, in a sense.
Exactly. Knowing that we have people who believe in us and support us on Patreon, it always helps you push through.
Oh, yeah. We never did this to get rich. But it really helps. Anybody helps. If they believe us. It's $1 on our Patreon, whatever. I don't care. Even if you're not on our Patreon, you just leave us good. We have a lot of people who leave us very loyal comments.
Well, that's why we did the creepy channel crawl, because we don't have any money. If I did, I would happily donate to all of these wonderful channels.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't. But we will give our time. We will give our support, and we will do whatever else we can.
Exactly.
Do whatever is in our power.
But like I said, it's just even the people who are loyally commenting on our videos, you really help us push through. So
I am interested in the Meg film as well, DMC Campbell. So that'll be exciting, because for me, anything big like that in the water scares the living hell out of me.
I mean, I'm really hoping that the Meg's going to be good. However, I mean, the Cleveland show wasn't a very good spinoff, so I'm not sure the Meg's going to be a great Family Guy spinoff. But we'll see. Nobody probably found that funny. Shut up, Meg.
Little known horror addicts fun fact. When I first met Danny, it was on MySpace. Yes, we're that old. And he was trying to pimp a lot of his wrestling stuff out to
I was throwing shows locally, and I wanted to get people to know about them.
To friends of his friends, which was one, I had a mutual friend with him. And I was like, why is this guy spamming me with all this fucking wrestling shit? But he dressed up as Ash from Evil Dead for Halloween, so I was like, well, fuck, I can't delete that guy. I'll friend that guy.
It's the same picture that I actually have, like, on my YouTube channel, like, and stuff.
And apparently, way before we even got together, he had a little crush on me because I dressed up as Meg from Family Guy, which, dude, you're not supposed to have a crush on Meg.
Well, if you know who plays Meg, she's actually really hot.
That's true. That's
and,
true.
Like, I was just
she's
like,
way hotter than me.
And so there you go.
All right, back to movies. So I also introduced Danny to a movie that I'd seen before, that we own, that I love, that he had never seen, called Wolf Girl. This was a TV film from Canada.
From 87.
What?
Oh, I mean 2001. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. The fuck are you talking about?
I've had a bunch of beers. And I looked at
It's
the list a
also
little ago.
it was originally called Blood Moon, and this one is about a freak show. It's got Tim Curry in it. It's got Grace Jones. And I really love this very unique werewolf movie. I am a big werewolf fan, and it's very hard to find a good werewolf movie, I think. It's about a freak show, and there's a girl, I cannot remember the name of the condition, so I apologize for that, but she is born with that condition where she's got hair all over her body. So she's in the freak show as the wolf girl. But she wants to be like everybody else.
They
even
put
though
some fake fangs on her, and she gets in a cage and growls, but she's really a sweetheart.
Sweetest thing ever. And you find out that, you know, she's being bullied horribly by these people, but these people are not perfect either, and I think that's a big part of the theme of this movie. But she ends up meeting another person in town who she kind of falls in love with and bonds with. And this guy's also bullied, but his mother works for a research center, and he thinks he can help her with her condition. Mm-hmm. And so he's giving her this experimental serum from his mother's
Hair
research.
removal stuff.
And it does work.
Mm-hmm.
But the more hair she loses, the more she looks like a normal girl, the more feral she becomes.
Yeah, she becomes violent and like animal-like-listic. So it's a lot about beauty being skin deep or hair root deep, I guess. But it's great.
Just how even beautiful people can be very ugly inside and vice versa.
And other than like the movie Freaks itself, it's probably one of the best takes on a carnival freak show. Like
Absolutely.
Tim Curry's in it, and it's just
they
amazing.
did so much with a low budget, and this movie has so much heart.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys have not seen Wolf Girl, or also called Blood Moon, from 2001, I highly recommend checking that out. It's a very low budget TV Canadian film, but you get dong droppage, you get boobs, you get killing.
It's micro dong though. You don't get a lot of dong.
heart?
You get a tiny bit of dong because it's full on dong, but he's got a micro penis.
Rolling, come on, girl. Monster Dog with Alice Cooper.
Fuck yeah.
Of course I've seen that shit. I own that shit,
Yeah,
girl.
we own that shit on Blu-ray, I think. But if not, we have it on DVD. It's one or the other. I would kind of like... I don't know if Dr. Wolfula is single, but we'd like to introduce him to the girl from Blood Moon.
You know, I actually think Dr. Wolfula and the girl from Blood Moon would be a very cute couple.
I'd ship it.
I ship that hard.
So,
Dr. Wolfula, we found your perfect match. Let us match make you.
all right, but that... Oh, another old one. This one's from 87.
From 87, we watched Bloody New Year. I actually watched this twice last month because we watched it with our Patreons.
With Ron and Kelly.
Yeah, the two people who want to watch movies with us. It's so sad.
People who sign up for it, but then there's just two that usually show up.
We have two loyal people who watch movies with us. And I also watched it when Dr. Wolfula did his commentary on it. Dr. Wolfula does a lot of very hilarious commentaries on horror movies. He did one, Houseboat Horror, recently.
Oh, it didn't have enough houseboating?
It didn't have enough
I saw that
houseboat.
one. I didn't see Bloody New Year. I'll have to go check that one out.
Yeah, that was his one from before that. So
okay, I'll have to check that one out.
We did it because it was New Year's, not because we were ripping you off, Wolfula. But yeah, he's hilarious. I love his live streams.
Yeah, so we did that for New Year's. And
as you'll see, Houseboat Horror was also on my letter. I'm looking at my letterbox list to see what we watched.
Anyways, Bloody New Year, like a group of teenagers kind of getting into a scuffle with some greasers at a carnival in England, somewhere around there.
Who's Meredith?
I have eyes for Meredith.
Maybe I haven't watched enough Dr. Wolfula to get the reference.
Maybe not.
Maybe it's like Edgar Allan Poe and his Lenore. Damn it, I feel like I'm like a shitty Dr. Wolfula fan now.
You failed now.
I have to say something to Dr. Wolfula. So our son Lawls, our half-demon son Lawls, who always wears the mask, is hugely a Scooby-Doo fan. And I love how in just about every video of yours I watch, you make a Scooby-Doo reference.
Yep.
Even if it's just using a clip from one of the movies, like, seriously, that just tickles him. So, thank you. That's awesome.
He's a big fan as well.
Yes.
Anybody who likes Scooby-Doo is like perfect in his book. Like they're friends.
Our son doesn't watch a lot of horror too, but he does love Dr. Wolfula for his shared love of Scooby-Doo.
So for his age and the fact that he doesn't watch a whole lot of horror, he knows a
What?
lot.
Savage Rock Girl just took off his shirt.
Holy shit!
It's getting hot in here.
Steamy.
Oh, Rogue Reaper took off her pants. Holy shit, dude.
Anyways, but yeah, Bloody New Year is a group of teenagers that are in, I believe, England, somewhere in the UK, and they're at a carnival, and they run afoul against a group of greasers, and like most of the carnival is destroyed. They end up on a boat that I almost think they stole, but I'm not 100% sure about that. And then they go off to a nearby island, and then there's this hotel there with ghosts. And apparently someone...
It's a little like House.
It's a little bit like House, but with a hotel, so almost Shining. Not quite nearly as good as Shining in a sense.
It's freaking bizarre.
It's cool. It's got some fun little kills. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, but it's a fun, classically little, like, overlooked slasher that I think that you could enjoy watching.
It's a beer and pizza movie.
Exactly. But that's
if
what
you
a lot
go
of those,
into it with low expectations, I think you will have a good time.
Those lower budget 80s slashers are like that, and that's how I feel
And
about
it's
it.
very different. And Dr. Wolfula, of course adults like Scooby-Doo. Where do you think
Scooby-Doo.
Where do you think our son got the love for Scooby-Doo from? What?
Exactly. Scooby-Doo, man. Always.
No, he's got us beat as far as remembering the trivia and stuff. But
oh, yeah.
I remember he geeked out pretty hardcore when Dr. Wolfula knew the original reference for Chickenstein. And I'm like, what? Because I hadn't seen a whole lot of pup named Scooby-Doo, but Lols knows what's up.
We always go to Crypticon. We're panelists, and we get to do a lot of stuff, so we always get to be like kind of guests in a sense. But we got to introduce Lols to Matthew Lillard last year, and it was the most touching moment that I think I've ever seen in my life.
I almost
other
teared
than
up.
like maybe our wedding. But yes,
Matthew Lillard is a really funny guy, and we met him at Seattle Crypticon this last year, and there's a room full of people, and of course there's always those assholes who shout out dumb shit. Mm-hmm. And he's just off the cuff, just nailing them, like with comebacks.
He's in his groove, he's eating, he's just having a good time.
But our son, who worships this person because Shaggy is his hero, is scared to death that he's going to get shot down by his hero, who is, just being really funny. So he raises his hand tentatively, and Matthew Lillard, in a room full of people, walks right up to him.
Comes up the whole hall, like the aisleway, just to him.
And he says, "Hey, buddy, what's your question?" He goes, "What's your favorite series of Scooby-Doo?" And he's like, "Mystery Incorporated, buddy." He's like, "Here, can I tell you something?" He leans in really close and he does the Shaggy voice in his ear, which he's not, I guess, allowed to do contractually.
Yeah, he's not allowed to kind of publicly
He did it
blast
for
that.
our son, and my son was like the biggest smile I think I've ever seen on his face. Mm-hmm. And the next day, when we went into Matthew Lillard's line to meet him, and we got a photo and an autograph for Lols, he recognized him. And he was so excited to see him. He insisted on a picture with him, even though we bought one. But he's like, "Well, what else can I give him?" They're like, "Well, he already paid for a photo and stuff." And they're like, "Oh, well, can I give him one of these?" And he grabbed the Scooby-Doo beanie and he gave it to him. And what I loved about it is he didn't just give it to him. He asked Lols if he could give him a present. He didn't have like a lot of ego about it.
Yeah, he's like, "Can I give you this?" Not,
yeah,
"I'm a celebrity, you take this." It's like, "Can I give you this?" And
yeah,
he's like, "Of course," but
very, very sweet, and it made me all the more an even bigger fan. And I'm kind of sad that Matthew Lillard was talking about how he might not be doing the Shaggy voice for much longer.
That there already are talks of replacing him. It hasn't been official, but he said that they've already talked about having other people play the voice, and he's like, "Really?"
Which is a shame, because I think
the less people do it, the better. Casey Kasem did it forever, basically.
Absolutely. Well, and the thing is with Matthew Lillard, he's gotten so much better with the voice with each movie. I mean, especially I just saw Scooby-Doo, The Brave and the Bold, which just came out about a week ago. Every movie, every series, he just gets better and better at it. So I just don't, if it ain't broke, why fix it?
I hope not.
Keep
I think
him on.
having less people do it will be better.
I agree.
I hope they go that way.
They still have Grey Giselle as Daphne. They have mixed up Velma a little bit. And
Sometimes
Frank Willard has been Fred since forever.
Yeah, and Scooby-Doo. So. But yeah, I think hopefully they go that way. They haven't officially replaced him, so we're not trying to say that that's happened. But he's discussed at how there's already talking in the future where he's not in the picture, and that's sad. I hope that they don't go that route.
Rogue Reaper wants to know if anyone here likes the torture porn genre. I don't really care for that genre.
I love Hostel 1 and 2, and 3 was
I
actually
love Hostel. I think Hostel is a little underrated. I think it gets passed off as torture porn, and I think it is a solid horror movie, and I think it's really good.
I love
Hostel 2.
there is torture porn in Hostel movies, but they tend to be good movies, and that's what matters. Like,
I think a good movie is a good movie regardless of the
plot or the reason.
I guess
or whatever.
the genre restrictions or the labels placed
The
on
original
it.
Saw's good. There's a few of the Saw sequels I really like. Some of them, it is just to see the kills. I'm not gonna lie. There's a bunch of Saw movies.
Classics.
I just want to see the kills. I have no idea who the corrupt detective who thinks he's Jigsaw now is. I don't care about any of that. Show me some fun kills and we'll be on our way.
But Saw 1 is a solid movie, and you guys know me. I don't shut up. I talk a lot when it comes to horror. When it comes to horror, I talk a lot. Not so much about other stuff. I'm pretty quiet outside of the horror genre. But when I Saw, I was speechless for like an hour. It struck me so hard. It was just such a powerful, scary movie.
And yeah, you could dissect it and find some little plots and that are wrong in the first one too, but it's so good that it doesn't matter.
It makes you re-examine your life. It makes you wonder, is there any area of my life where I am not living my life to its fullest? I'm not appreciating my life enough, and I don't think anybody can walk away from that question and say absolutely yes, because I think we all maybe don't appreciate the life we're given to some degree.
Doc says he watched Don't Fuck in the Woods. Is that a horror movie or
That
porno?
is! I saw that!
Says it's not bad. I'll have to look into that.
It came out last year.
Some other... I don't know. If it's torture porn just for the sake of torture porn, it's probably going to suck. There are good ones. I like the original Human Centipede. I didn't like the sequels that much, but...
I like the original.
I would say that is, in a sense, torture porn. They're very tortured.
I think the original is really scary and effective.
It got a little off the rails by the third one.
Though watching it with you was an experience. He was very drunk.
Let's just keep it at that.
Let's just keep it at that. But I didn't care for 2 or 3.
2 was alright. 3 was just too much.
Moving right along, next on our list is we watched Houseboat Horror. You know what? I'm not going to spoil that for you guys. Go watch the stream that Dr. Wolfila did. He'll explain it way better. We needed more houseboat. Hey, my buddy Ken from the Monster Cinema Production here is here, and he is a 12-year-old obsessive horror fan who is currently living in New Zealand. The kid's fucking awesome.
Large Marge was...
That kid is very awesome. God damn, I should not swear.
Ben Grimm, Large Marge was awesome. We just watched President's Day where there was... I could have swear the janitor was Large Marge. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It looked just like... And then, like, the teacher was almost just like Francis. I was like, it's not them. It seems
Ken, just a little... Just for you, I want to say I'm very proud of you. Thank you so much for being my guest on the Creepy Channel Crawl the other day. I love that you finally got to meet Lols. I love that I finally got to talk to you in person. And Horror Gal got to talk to you, and you're just such a charming and very intelligent, savvy horror movie fan. So it was a true pleasure to have you on the show.
But yeah, just go watch Dr. Wolfila's Houseboat. I'll quote him as it needed more houseboat.
I also want to say our buddy Ken also makes his own short films that are way more than you would expect from somebody who's only 12. He's a very talented guy.
And now we got the Greasy Strangler.
Gory put a nickel in the swear jar.
We've seen the Greasy Strangler, but we had our friend who's...
The Greasy Strangler is one of my fucking favorite movies. You guys know I love to talk about dongs.
Our friend Ronnie Angel, who is the author of both the Slash Dreams and Slash Dreams 2, The Nightmare Continues. He, big old books about slashers. Basically everything you need to know about a slasher is in those books. He hadn't seen the Greasy Strangler, so last time he was over, we watched it with him, and since his name was Ronnie Angel, in the movie they call the Greasy Strangler, his name's Big Ron, so we kept calling Ronnie Big Ron the whole night.
Kind of like the Napoleon Dynamite of horror. I mean, it drops a ton of dongs, it's got a ton of nudity, it's got some ridiculous practical effects where eyeballs are popping out.
I can't say any of the nudity in it.
And yet, I have to argue with the people who dismiss it as just being weird for the sake of being weird or just trying really hard to be irrelevant. The Greasy Strangler has some layers to it. It's got some heart to it, and it's also one of the most quotable movies you will fucking ever see.
I can't stop quoting that.
I quote The Greasy Strangler almost as much as I quote one of my favorite films, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I quote it almost daily.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi. Oh, God. Stop it. I quote
But
my
anyways,
friend Roger Rabbit multiple times a day.
take me disco dancing, Big Ron.
But I also quote Greasy Strangler a lot. We're constantly, as Death Witch put it, saying bullshit artists.
There actually is, like you said, there's some layers there. There's a depth story of a father and a son who want to kindle like their relationship, but they are at each other's ends, and a woman gets between them. But
I think with anybody who has a parent where it's all you got. I mean, I was raised by a single mom. And you have that need to be close to the people who made you, and sometimes just your personalities are very different. And I think anybody who's had that experience can relate to the Greasy Strangler in that way, and there is that underlying layer of the Greasy Strangler where you really are desperately trying to connect to this person that is important to you in your life.
Well, the father and the son, they love each other, but they resent each other at the same time. And
exactly, because you can't choose your family. And sometimes your family members, your brothers, your sisters, your parents are very different than you. But it doesn't mean that you don't love them and you want to connect with them, despite how different you are.
I mean, in a sense, it feels like they almost blame each other for the mom being out of the picture now. And Ricky Pickles, of course, and his washboard abs. But
yeah, it's also just bizarre and funny. Porto.
Porto. One more time, please.
Free drinks. Okay,
that movie's gonna get a full dunk. Just Undead just couldn't finish it. It's not nudity and some violence that some people can stomach. But
it's a movie that makes me smile every single time I watch it.
I almost kind of wish there was an audiobook about it sometimes, because then I could watch it while eating. I can't watch it while eating, but
come on.
I do love it, though.
The dong droppage in this, the dongs are clearly...
It's kind of fake dong. It's like in watching Gwar, in a sense.
They are fake dongs.
One's got a over-exaggerated penis, the other one's got a like little micro penis, but they're fake.
It also kind of makes me want to take a shower inside a car wash.
Yeah, you kind of need one after watching the movie. It is that greasy, but good movie nonetheless.
And very original. You will have seen nothing else like it.
All right, you take over to tell them about Narai the Curse.
I'm going to keep it pretty short on Narai the Curse. Narai the Curse is one that was recommended by one of our horror family over on Patreon. It is a found footage Japanese flick. It's very, intense. And for a lot of people, very scary. It didn't scare me so much, but there's a lot of parts of it I really liked. I do think it's a must-see, and if you want my full thoughts on that, I did post a review of it on our channel.
Marie's Hard Candy is a very powerful movie, and Ellen Page gave a very good performance in it.
Well above her years.
It's I knew that it was a must own, like even before I actually watched it. Just by the preview alone, I bought it right away. And
very underrated.
Very underrated. Yeah, very moving and very realistically disturbing movie.
I also want to comment on what Rogue Reaper said. The voices, I love the voices. It's so funny. But it's also very deep. I mean, I have never seen a movie before because I have a friend who has schizophrenia, and even having a friend who has schizophrenia, I never understood why you wouldn't take your medication. It didn't make any damn sense to me. But watching the voices, it made sense to me. How he explained how his mother thought that she was hearing angels, and for this guy, he's so lonely.
His life is horrible, but...
And his dog and his cat talking to him, it's bizarre and it's kind of messed up, but
he has companionship.
It's the closest thing he has to real friendship in his life.
Even if he's delusional, his world is much brighter without the medication. Once he's brought into the real world, he sees how just pathetic his life is, and there's no reason to live in a sense.
And it just seems so lonely.
Yeah, it's so isolated, it's so dirty, it's so filthy, it's just, he has no reason to really go on.
Like in his world, everything's clean and nice, and when he's off the medication,
he sees how everything really is.
He sees the reality of how his life is.
I would understand cutting off medication if that's what it would fix for your life. Ryan Reynolds did a great job on that. When people kept saying, I can't wait for Deadpool, because they were so like, there's all these rumors of Deadpool, and then it finally was like released, but it was going to be PG-13, it's going to be R. I was like, hey, just watch the voices right now. That'll help get you through. He is crazy as shit. It's a good, funny, dark horror movie, but it is very deep in a sense. So
I agree.
I loved it. Was that 2015? I think it was our favorite movie of that year. Maybe
it's one of our favorite movies of all time. We love that movie
when we had that. So we'll
be reviewing that soon with Brocky the pup dog and Kirby the synopsis cat.
As for Noroi the Curse, you have a review already up on the
I
channel.
mentioned that. It's up
So
on the channel.
you could watch that if you want to know what we thought about that.
Yeah, we'll have some more videos coming up real soon.
The
We've got a
crawl
little
and everything,
delayed.
we just kind of... It's been hectic lately.
Also related to what Matt Ray said about Monster Vision, Shudder is talking about bringing Monster Vision back with Joe Bob Briggs. What they want to convince them is video testimonials on what Monster Vision, the show, meant to fans who grew up with it. So if you're a fan of Monster Vision, shoot a video testimonial and send it to Shudder, post it on your YouTube, share it with them on Twitter. We're going to post one here really soon because Monster Vision is very much a part of our childhood growing up. In high school, I didn't have a lot of friends, but I did have Monster Vision, so I love it. I've met Joe Bob Briggs. He is class act all the way, so we'll be filming a testimonial here soon.
Savage said he wants to see a collab with us and Dr. Wolfie.
Savage, yes, I would love to do a collab with Dr. Wolfie.
I'm not trying to put him on the spot by any means, but yeah.
Dr. Wolfila is...
He's ever got the time. He's a busy man.
kind of a big deal YouTuber compared to us, so
not going to expect
maybe when our
but
channel gets a bit bigger, but anytime Dr. Wolfila would like to do a collab, we would be game.
For anything, basically. Doesn't have to be a review.
Especially about Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Because he's the only other person I've met online or seen online that is...
Brian Barnes does a lot of Scooby-Doo references.
That's true. Brian Barnes knows a Scooby-Doo, but
a
lot of people don't know their due.
That's just as much horror as all the gory movies we talk about, so there you go.
That's one thing that's been very important to us on Horror Addicts is we try to cover all things horror, and from the most depraved things like Saw and Hostel to your mainstream horror to 1930s, 20s silent horror to 50s horror.
To kind of skip on the list here, but a good segue of what we're talking about with kids horror.
But yeah, also children's horror and family horror, things like Goosebumps, things like Scooby-Doo.
Coco, which we just watched.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed Coco. I thought it was a lot of heart into that, and I love how Disney took some risks.
Disney took some big risks. I was like, whoa, Disney, when did you get fucking balls?
There's murder, there's been murder in a lot of old Disney movies.
There's some racy jokes in it.
Racy jokes. They explored the afterlife and the underworld, and there's just mostly, like, most of the characters are
It's the most fucking metal Disney movie I've seen.
It reminded me a lot, like, the world that it's in, like Corpse Bride. It's a way different story, but the world that it kind of takes place in reminds me a lot of Corpse Bride.
It's a world very much set in Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead.
And I loved Coco. I thought that was great. I wish that it would have got advertised better and came out maybe in a better time.
I don't cry during movies, but if I was going to cry, I gotta say I felt a little misty watching Coco.
Yeah, it gave me the feels, So.
You cry like a little bit.
I didn't cry.
You would have.
I got the feels from it, and I would say
your heart did that thing that the wolf does and like the Looney Tunes things where it went boom, boom.
There's a couple of things. It's like you're constantly like, oh well, I bet that's it. But then they introduce new characters, like, oh well,
yeah,
I bet that's it.
There are parts of this film where you're going to think that you're smarter than the movie, and you've got it all figured out, and then there'll be a big twist that tells you that everything that you think you know is wrong.
Granted, it's because of different characters that get introduced later that change that, but still.
And the animation is top notch.
Love the animation.
Like Laws was curious about whether the songs are bad because he doesn't like a lot of musical numbers, but they are so natural to the film.
It's got a lot of Hispanic, like a flamenco type sound, and I love flamenco.
It's got a lot of like mariachi
and stuff like that. It's good music, so.
Isabel, I haven't seen Book of Life. Let me know more about it in the comments or in the Gory Hole chat, and maybe I'll check it out. Certainly, if you recommend it, it's probably pretty good.
All right. Well, now what do we
Let's talk about a couple of short films. So you're going to get short reviews for short films. What? It's like a commercial break. We have Shudder. We are big supporters of Shudder. Shudder is Netflix for horror fans, and it's like $4 a month, guys. Come on.
Not bad at all.
I mean, we're poor, and we have it, so... And I will say I didn't use my Shudder as much before I had a Roku. But a Roku is like a $15 purchase, and then you can get the Shudder app on that. You can get the Comet TV app on that, which is another channel we really like. But moving on, she says it's a lot like Coco, Isabel did.
Oh, okay.
We'll probably like it. Thank you, Isabel.
Sweet, we'll look into that.
So I watched a couple of short movies on there. I watched I Want You Inside of Me, which starts a lot like Teeth. A girl has sex with a boy in a cave, And then he disappears. And it's a short movie, so that's really all I can say without spoiling it for you. But let's just put it this way. The title is kind of literal.
Yeah, check it out.
And Invaders, which starts off like something like The Stranger. It's like a 6-minute movie. Mm-hmm. It starts off kind of like The Strangers, only the invaders in this are dressed up as pilgrims with these like paper masks. And it goes wrong really freaking quick.
Savage Rock and Roll watches Shudder with his shirt off. Lucky Shudder, I'd say.
Isn't he shirtless right now?
That's what. Yeah, I think so.
Woo! Spring break!
Then we found one. I'm not gonna say it's like amazing, but I really.
Devil's Gate?
Yeah, the Devil's Gate was a nice little thing to find.
Yeah, we are big supporters of trying to watch everything in the horror genre because I personally feel that the horror genre is where you're going to find the most diversity, the most creativity, and I think it's the place where you're going to find the most hidden gems.
And this one was very hidden. It's not the shiniest gem, but it was good. I wasn't expecting much. It's called The Devil's Gate, which is very misleading in a sense. It gives you 30 minutes of where you think a movie called The Devil's Gate would take you. But after about an hour into it, you're like, oh, wait, there's something else to this film.
Yeah, it stars Milo Ventimiglia, who you might remember from Heroes or Gilmore Girls, and Sean Ashmore, who was also in Wolf Girl, which we mentioned earlier, in the X-Men films.
Yeah.
And it's very different. It's very hard to talk about also without spoiling too much for you, but essentially it's set in the South. And you have this guy who, it's a guy everyone has gone to college with, or not college, everyone went to high school with, so they know him.
Town, little
name,
but everybody knows who he is.
He's got a reputation for maybe being, possibly an abusive or very strict husband.
Yeah.
And his wife and his son have gone missing. Well, an FBI agent from out of town comes in, and she's like, you know what, I don't know these fucking people. Let's get to the bottom of this and find these missing people. Mm-hmm. So she teams up with the local Fuzz.
Deputy or whatever.
Fuzz.
Yeah. Young cop. Local young cop.
5-0. Kappa. Anyhow, they go to his house, and things are not what they seem.
No.
Not at all.
I will tell you, in the opening little, scene right before the credits and stuff, this drifter shows up and goes onto the private property Keep Out, and he is brutally murdered.
Yeah, this guy's got the guy, Milo Ventimiglia, who is the husband who is
owns the property.
The man suspected of possibly doing something terrible to his wife and son has saw traps all around his house. And I will tell you that the twist is not so much that he's trying to keep people out. He's trying to keep something he has hidden in his house from getting out.
Yeah. There is a secret that he does not want out and let loose. And, but yeah, he guards that secret very violently. But it's... There is a lot to be said.
Sorry, I'm giggling about dong punch and dong hug. The dongs have a life of their own now.
The dongs have been let loose.
When I first started talking about dongs and Ghouls Night Out, I got so much hate for it.
When you first dropped dong, and now dong is in style.
That's probably why we even have a thumbs down.
That's how it is. Trendsetters, they always get hate at first.
I'm a trendsetter?
Yeah, you just trendsetted the dong. They get hate at first, but then it becomes mainstream.
I don't know if that's the trend I want to take.
It becomes mainstream later, It's not mainstream yet. Right now it's cult, going off. But yeah, I'm not gonna spoil too much about Devil's Gate. It's a see it. It's not gonna probably be the best movie you see this year, but check it out. And
absolutely, if you guys enjoy these monthly wrap-up streams, give us a thumbs up. It lets us know that this is something that you want to see more of, because we try to keep making more of the content that you guys enjoy.
Yeah. So.
Did I draw the pig behind us? Are you talking about the Sam pig, Matt? Because that was not drawn by me. But it's drawn by Steven... I don't know. He did some graphic novels that we're going to review here soon.
Yeah, we didn't actually draw anything.
Stephen McGinnis.
So none of that stuff's our originals.
Yes, I have drawn lots of dongs on Gory_draws_dongs. So,
Instagram, right?
Yes, on Instagram. That's where you'll find my really crappy art. So, Danny, moving right along.
You gotta draw Dr. Wolfula. But you gotta do Dead West from Screaming Soup first.
Okay, I'm gonna do the people who actually want me to draw them as dongs first. Dr. Wolfula is
Monty
still...
G.
Yes, there's a lot of them.
They want
Dice
you to.
Brolin. Dr. Wolfula is still kind of a YouTube celebrity as far as I'm concerned. So unless Dr. Wolfula gives me permission to draw him and Goulash as animated penises, I'm not going to do that because I got mad respect for the guy.
You drew our cat.
Yeah, my cat loves me.
I just want to see a Wolfula dog.
Yeah, I don't want to scare the guy off. He's actually watching our stream, okay?
All right.
It'd be nice to be friends with this person eventually.
Okay, speaking of scaring people off, we're going to go with the suckling next.
So the suckling is one I've heard about a lot. We're both people who love creature features.
Oh, yes.
We're people who have an affection for practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Shadow, I would need a picture of you, but absolutely, buddy.
You got the go-ahead. Draw that Wolfula dong.
Alright, I will draw Goulash and Dr. Wolfula as dongs on my Instagram. I got the go-ahead. Wow.
Awesome.
Sweet. I'm excited about that. Got my colored pencils in my notebook. Anyway, thank you, Dice Rollin'.
But yeah, the suckling, it's got a creature in it, it's got practical effects. They're not the best, but I don't care. I prefer bad practical effects over...
Bad practical is better than bad CGI any day.
Bad CGI is like basically the worst.
Bad CGI comes off looking lazy, whereas bad practical effects come off looking charming.
And charming and
yeah.
Good practical is still better than good CGI as well. Like, give me the Thing over anything every day.
Oh, God, yes. And it ages so much better.
Alien.
Even really good CGI, it just doesn't age as well as really good practical.
That's my main problem with, like, Alien sequels. I love the first two Aliens. They're practical. They're aliens or practical and stuff.
It's going to stand up.
Then you got... I like the one with Whedon and stuff too, but it still had like the CGI aliens. They're not quite as good. They weren't bad, but they were still CGI. So it was like, eh. And then the latest Alien installments, it's like, oh, that CGI
Matt
just
says,
looks bad.
draw me like one of your French dongs. Hi, baby.
Oh,
we're on camera, so if you don't want to have an unmasking. Hey, guess who's here?
Lols.
Oops.
Dr. Wolfula.
Dr. Wolfula's here.
Hanging out.
You want to ask him a question, get your mask on.
The Death Witch's dong is shirtless. No protection with that one.
Kills me, dude. I fucking love the Death Witch.
But yeah, the suckling, it's a very offensive and a iffy topic.
The suckling is not for everybody. It was made in 1990, but I gotta say, it looks like... Hi!
Here's Laws.
This is Lulz, our resident Scooby-Doo expert. Do you have anything you want to say to the chat? Hi. We got Eric from the Death Witch here, Dice Rollin', OCD Horror, our buddy Ron from Savage Rock and Roll, and Dr. Wolfula. I don't know if Goulash is with him, but probably.
I don't know. But if you wanted to ask him like his favorite Scooby-Doo or whatever.
He already did ask him that.
Oh, did he?
He asked him on Twitter.
And he answered?
Dr. Wolfula said Mr. Incorporated.
Nice.
Well, he said the original, but Mr. Incorporated for story.
It is the one where they put the most like into that.
Do you have anything you want to say?
No.
No.
Are you going to bed?
Let's say hi.
Yeah, it's like 11, dude.
Yeah, you got school tomorrow. It's bedtime, buddy.
Did not know that.
It's
Give
okay,
us
bud.
hug.
Give us love.
Oh. Kiss. Good night, Lulz.
Good night, Laws. Sleep well, buddy.
I love you. So now that our son's out of the room, let's get back to talking about the suckling.
Yeah, the suckling.
Which is not appropriate for children.
All right, which it's got a abortion.
The suckling is essentially about a couple that goes to a brothel/abortion clinic. The boyfriend wants her to have an abortion. The girl is hoping that he will change his mind, and she's just kind of humoring him.
She's actually there to kind of
But
fake it almost.
she passes out, she faints, and they go ahead and do the abortion without her consent. And the way they dispose of the aborted fetuses is by flushing them down the toilet. So they flush the aborted fetus down the toilet. It goes into the sewers where there has been a toxic waste spill. This is like something right out of Tromaville, though it's not a trauma film.
No.
The aborted fetus comes in contact with the toxic waste, and it grows in size. It gets these claws and shit, and then it starts killing off people in the brothel/abortion clinic one by one, and they can't escape because it's created this like membrane around the whole building that's locking them in.
It kind of looks a little like a Pumpkinhead, a little different, but
Yeah, the practical effects are top. Are we out of beer?
we're out of beer.
The practical effects are top notch, and
On the creature, anyways.
yeah, it's funny. It's low budget, but I think it's charming.
The kills don't look too bad. Some of them are better than others. The
There's
stuff
some slow parts in it.
Some stuff in the there's a few slow moments, but yeah, it involves a lot of touchy subjects, so it's not for everybody. But that's a lot like zombie babies. If you've ever seen that as well.
Yeah, you have to be a person who's not easily offended to enjoy the suckling.
And
But I enjoyed it.
I'm
It's
not-
something I want to own.
I'm not very PC and I'm not very offended by anything, so I enjoy it.
Yeah, Jason, it's on our Netflix. It's a bummer you don't have it on Aussie Netflix, though.
Yeah, they're always different. Even Canada has different Netflix, so.
Yeah, Mr. Shadow, it's like some Henenlotter shit is what it's like.
Mm-hmm. But it's a good little low budget
And I think
feature.
next one I want to talk about is Day of the Dead Bloodline.
Blah.
Day of the Dead Bloodline. So my cousin, who is a screenwriter, my cousin is Seth M. Sherwood, who wrote the
Leatherface.
Leatherface prequel, and he's working on a lot of horror movies in Hollywood right now. He actually worked on Day of the Dead, but his name's not on it because he doesn't want anything to do with it. But it was his idea that their bub character, the reason he kept his humanity is because he had affection for the lead gal in this movie, and he backed out the moment when they decided to make it to where that
rapey stalker zombie.
basically, yeah, and I think that's one of the most offensive things about this movie.
The zombie is apparently able to keep its personality because it was such a powerful rapist, in a sense, in its head.
Yeah.
Its desire to rape the final girl so much outweighed the fact that it had a zombie virus, apparently, that it kept its grossest part of its humanity anyways. But it's weird. It can there's like a whole scene of it where it breaks into a military base to get her, and it's almost like watching the opening scene of the video game Metal Gear Solid for regular PlayStation, but it's a zombie and he's like sneaking in and he's like trying not to get caught. He's got that big of a desire to rape this chick.
The acting is shit. The story is shit. It might be passable if it was not called Day of the Dead.
I would have been easier on it. I don't think I would have enjoyed it, but I was really hard on this fact that they are besmirching the Day of the Dead name, and it's like, you don't need to do that. Just call it Zombie Bloodline.
George Romero is rolling in his grave.
Just call the movie Zombie Bloodline, and I would have...
Catching up with the chat really quick, Red Christmas is about somebody who was aborted and survived.
Yep.
And Savage Rock and Roll, we haven't picked next month's Patreon movie. Maybe something St. Patrick's Day themed? Give us some ideas.
Leprechaun Origins.
Rogue Reaper, seriously, why are you not making movies in Hollywood? You clearly have a gift.
Indeed.
But yeah, Day of the Dead does not deserve any more of our time than that. It also stars the guy, God, I can't remember his name. I think he's on the OC. I never watched that. But he's also in a movie called The Forgotten, the vampire movie.
Oh, yeah. I think that's...
and he's also in the shitty Prom Night reboot.
If it was just a zombie...
Jonathan Skate?
If it was called Zombie Bloodline, I'd say skip it. But it's called Day of the Dead Bloodline, so I'm going to say burn it with fucking fire.
It's complete and utter shit.
Does not deserve that name.
Guys, don't watch Day of the Dead Bloodline, alright? It's not worth... it wasn't even worth us reviewing. It's not worth your time. There's a lot of great movies that you're maybe missing out on because they're indie, but this is not one of those movies.
Day of the Dead already had a shitty remake. It doesn't need another one. So... Which is sad because, honestly, out of the original trilogy, Day of the Dead is actually my favorite. I love all three of them to no end, but the original had such a cool, the effects and the kills were so amazing in that one. Like, choke on it and bub. And it was just, I love that movie so much, but... Okay, that's the one thing I can kind of say okay about Day of the Dead Bloodline. Some of the kills look okay. They have some practical effects kills, they have some CGI blood, it's a little mixture of both. Some of the gore looks okay. That's the only thing nice I can say about it. It's still not worth watching. There's a million zombie movies out there that are just as bad, if not and way better, and there's a whole bunch of them that are way, way better, so... run-of-the-mill zombie film.
I won't talk about it too much because Danny hasn't seen it yet, but also check out Residue, which is on American Netflix. Very Lovecraftian. It's got a lot of heart in it, so I think that was a good one. Do we want to talk about Capture Kill Release?
Capture, Kill, Release. A couple. They want. That's right. That's the one where it's a couple.
Capture Kill Release is a found footage. It's about a couple who. It's mostly the wife.
Yeah, she wants to kill somebody really badly.
So they start scoping out potential victims, and the husband is kind of going along with it. And I don't really believe that he thinks she's going to go through with it.
I think it's like almost like a little fantasy, and I think in a sense he's kind of like down with the idea, like a fantasy, like, oh, that would be kind of hot, but he's not really down with the reality of it.
And it gets pretty real pretty fast.
Oh, yeah. And
she's researching how to kill people. She's researching how to get rid of the bodies.
She brings home a cat.
She kills a cat.
Drowns it.
But even though I thought the premise was really original, I didn't enjoy the movie. I hated the characters so much that I couldn't enjoy the film.
She plans to kill this asshole, but then I guess she doesn't. She decides to kill the nice homeless guy, and he's the only person in the movie that's even remotely likable.
Yeah.
Because the husband has no spine. I can't respect him or like him. And then the wife is just horribly ugly. Like, just everything about her, in a sense. And there's nothing wrong with being a slasher, but...
Quick shout out to our buddy from Dead Reel. Dude, do you have your puppet with you?
Ooh.
He has puppets.
Dead Reel. Are they Muppets?
Kinda. Danny's afraid of Muppets. I think his puppet is charming.
They just... Bleh.
I like his puppet.
But yeah, I don't know. Capture, Kill, Release left a bad taste in my mouth. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good. It's just found footage, and the ending had a slightly nice little twist, because it's one of those movies, sadly, I hate when those movies do that. They give you a glimpse of the ending, and that's how they start the movie, and then they end it that way. However, it's not quite what you think, and then that part was okay, but it was still almost 2 hours of stuff I didn't need to see to get there.
Agreed.
So, we'll move on.
And briefly we'll touch on, I introduced my 13-year-old son Lulz to Garfield's Halloween Adventure.
Which is a little more racist than we remembered.
It's a lot more racist than I remember it.
But it's still cool.
But I guess the nostalgia wins, because
Yeah.
I still love that TV special, and I was able to watch it on Boomerang.
It doesn't try to be like hatefully racist. It's one of those...
It's a little outdated.
It doesn't know what it does. Racist.
See, he says they're not puppets, they're real.
Oh, well then they're awesome. I have no
There you
problem.
go. I also introduced Lulz to An American Wolf in London, the very first movie I ever saw as a baby. And he loved it, because who doesn't love it?
It's like the best werewolf movie out there, so...
It's fucking amazing. And then we watched Jigsaw.
Oh, yeah. And I was pleasantly surprised with Jigsaw. I wasn't expecting much. I've kind of given up on the Saw franchise being more than just, in a sense, torture porn, yes. But no, I actually kind of like Jigsaw. It's got a whole different tone to it than they've had recently. And I don't know. It's not great, but I like it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Eric was watching that special a week ago. Yeah, I've been trying to get that Garfield special for forever. It's kind of expensive on Amazon, but yeah, I was happy that Boomerang had it.
But the cast is a little more likable than they've been lately in the Jigsaw franchise. The victims, some of them are very funny. Like, they're going through some major shit, but they'll throw out some lines that actually made me giggle. Some of the traps were cool, and it was a nice breath of air into the franchise. I didn't think that they needed another one, and honestly, they probably didn't.
I don't think they did either. I gave up on Saw quite a while ago, but I thought Jigsaw was refreshing. I thought I went back more to the roots of the franchise. I think it's really underrated. It's a lot better than I think most critics will say it is. I really enjoyed it, and it had a really good twist.
So,
even Zygma, who, if you guys really followed the show, he hates most movies. Even he liked it.
Yeah. So
yeah, I thought Jigsaw was good. I'm going to buy it on 4K as soon as I can.
It's probably in my it's definitely my top 3 out of the franchise.
It even made our top 20 of last year, which
barely,
we're getting to it.
We also have...
We got a little sidetracked with the crawl.
So... Dark Saw.
Rogue Reaper wants to see more gargoyle creatures in movies. Yeah, I think there could definitely be more, though I think my favorite is maybe the short segment from Tales from the Dark Side.
Yeah, the
movie.
The Tales of Dark Side movie.
Is Shockwaves any good? I haven't seen it, but you have, right, honey?
Where the zombies are made by Nazis, but if they take their goggles off,
I've seen the poster.
It kills them.
Isabel wants to know if it's any good.
Well, it depends on what you like in a movie, because it's very outdated, very old school. The effects are really old. It's, God, is it early 80s or late 70s? I can't remember. But the time will really be there. If you can handle old horror like that doesn't have the best effects, then yeah, I would say it's good. I like it. But I wouldn't say... I can't recommend it to everybody unless they're into those old school, like, movies. But as far as, like, horror...
I like old school.
As
I
far as
kind of like it. It's been on my
horror
list for a while.
As far as horror Nazi stuff goes, it's pretty up there. I enjoy it.
I want to check it out.
I like Shockwaves.
I don't know, Isabel. Isabel, here is my challenge to you. We do one of these wrap-up videos every month. So you watch it, I'll watch it. We'll both check in next month and share our thoughts.
There you go. Shockwaves next month.
And Matt Reeves, yes, Mick Foley, oddly enough, is going to be at Seattle Crypticon in May. I don't get it, but I'm excited.
I've met him a couple of times before, just being an indie wrestler. But actually, the funny thing is, every time I've met him, it wasn't at a wrestling show. It's always been kind of like as a fan. Right when I was getting trained, my trainer was on a show with him that was half like roller jam, half wrestling, not derby. It's a little different than roller derby, but it's almost the same. And he was on that, and then I got to meet him at a book signing once and stuff. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to meeting him again.
Ooh, Peter Cushing's in Shockwaves. And Scream Crack mentioned a movie called Feeding Time Favorites, or Feeding Time, a favorite by Screamfest. I love me some Killer Baby movie. That's like one of my favorite subgenres. So you had me at Creepy Baby.
Yep. Creepy babies are always awesome. Creepy kids, too.
We highly recommend Jigsaw. I also saw a movie called A Dark Song. I wish I would have mentioned this on the stream I was on with Dice Roland the other day, but that is, as far as showing the process of witchcraft and ritual, A Dark Song, that's what it's all about. A woman has lost her child, and she is going through this very arduous ritual in order to get revenge on the people who killed her child. And it's intense. It's very intense, very claustrophobic. But as far as movies that are accurate to paganism, A Dark Song has it down pat.
Sweet.
So I think Dice Roland would really like that. Yes, Isabel accepted my challenge. So Isabel, next month, you and I are going to discuss Shockwaves.
Yes, it'll be awesome. I watched a very micro-budget movie, very indie, The Unkindness of Ravens.
I watched it too.
Yep. And I liked it. It's kind of a modern Edgar Allan Poe, where there's a lot of poetry. A man is isolated himself because he's dealing with some PTSD problems from the war. And shit gets kind of crazy, mostly in his head from what it seems, but it's very intense. It's very crazy. He's haunted by ravens, mostly from what he's seen of like his dead soldier mates being kind of picked at by ravens when they were all kind of blown up and he survived. And there's these like these knights, like evil knights. They're pretty cool. They're like a plague. What is it?
They look like plague doctors.
They look like plague doctors. They got the long beaks and stuff, and they have these cool Freddy Krueger gloves and like swords. And they look good. Like, they don't look amazing, but they're practical. They look really good. I liked the look. I felt that the movie kind of maybe went on a little too long because it takes you up on this roller coaster and then it like has a part where it could perfectly end. But then it's like, oh, one more time. And at that point, you're a little desensitized because it's pretty much the same shit you just saw over again, but just more blood, more crazy graphic stuff. Not bad stuff, just I just saw this and that you like, I don't know. It didn't have that same effect, that second ride. But it's still good. And I recommend it if you can handle a very small budget for an indie film.
Responding to the chat really quick. Dice Rollin', you can find Dark Song on Netflix if you have that. Alazia, hey, good to see you here, my buddy from the Slow Pit.
Nice.
And Dead Real just watched Just Desserts, which we got that not recent. We got that like last year in a box of dread. It's the Creepshow documentary. I still need to see that, but I really want to because I love Creepshow.
For some reason, didn't know we had that. Like I forgot. So
we've had it for a while. We just haven't watched it.
And I probably remember getting it, but I just don't remember having it for some reason.
A feel-good horror movie. You know what, Ben Grimm? I got you a feel-good horror movie because you my boy. Vampire Cleanup Department.
Oh, yes. So much heart in that one. It's such a cute film.
If you want to watch a horror movie that has kills,
Bloody,
but makes you feel good at the end of it, you need to watch yourself some Vampire Cleanup Department. It's a Chinese vampire movie, and we're talking about your hopping vampires here.
hopping stiff vampires from their lore.
Yes, this is amazing. It's hilarious. The effects are pretty decent for the most part.
There's a good amount of blood in the film. It's not
Yeah.
even though it is a romantic film in a sense, that's still got its good amount of gore.
But essentially, there's a guy who his parents were, street cleaners.
Mm-hmm.
And they were killed, and he doesn't entirely know why. He was raised by his grandparents. And he witnesses a vampire attack, and these street cleaners find him. They tell him that it was, what is actually going on, and that his parents were part of this elite group of people who pose as street cleaners, but are actually vampire hunters.
And he kind of stumbles into the family business this way. His grandpa and uncle are doing it. He gets bit. They're like, whoa, you're immune to the vampire virus, and they want him on the team. He doesn't want to be originally, but they're like, well, we got to have you. You're immune. You can be bit and still fight vampires. So
most of the movie is them training him.
And
Cat's trying to break in.
he finds this vampire woman who's a lot different than other vampires that they've stumbled around, and he falls in love.
Yeah, well, they have these things called amulets, which are like these pieces of paper with certain
spells in a sense,
basically written on them, and they're pinned to the vampire's head. One of them falls off of this female vampire that they found in a lake, and then she starts moving around, and she's very sweet and charming, and he falls in love with her. So he decides that he can't incinerate her. He keeps her inside his house, and she can only hop, so he gets her one of these little scooters that she can walk around, she can scoot around on, and she's the sweetest little thing ever, and I fucking loved it. If you guys get a chance, please check out the Chinese vampire film, Vampire Cleanup Department.
Yes.
Which will also be in our top 20 that, yes, is coming out soon.
Mm-hmm. Also might be mentioned in our Oscars, which will be our next stream, I
Yes,
believe.
that's our horror Oscars. It's coming up here soon.
It's going to be the same night as the Oscars, so if you don't want to watch the Oscars, or maybe you want to watch both, we will be giving you the Oscars. We will give out awards to our favorites of horror. So,
any other ones you want to talk about? Are you ready to wrap it up?
Oh, Another Evil real quick. Let's talk about that.
Well, that's going to be on our list.
Okay, you're right. Never mind. All I want to say about Another Evil is you like Creep and Creep 2, then you're probably going to like Another Evil, but it's going to have ghosts.
Another Evil is a very indie type movie that I think a lot of people might have missed. But this family realizes they have a couple ghosts in their house. So first they get a exorcist who's very...
Oh, the ghosts are fine.
He's kind of like a hippie, and he's kind of like, you know what? If they ain't bothering you, what's the big deal?
They just live here too, that's all it is.
And they don't really accept that.
Yeah,
so they get another exorcist, and this guy goes balls to the fucking wall. And
He's a
gets,
ghost hunter.
He gets a little cable guy like on this guy, like he won't leave. He's all like, now we're best friends. I'm not going anywhere.
How about we'll get drunk and get strippers and okay. He goes crazy. He like loses a flashlight into the wall, and then later on there is like the light. When they turn out the lights, the light's still gleaming out of the wall of the flashlight. It's hilarious, but it basically begs the question: what is worse to haunt your house, the ghost or the Ghostbuster? So I just love it. But we'll talk more about that later. All right, I think we've got about what we got.
Check it out. Is horror YouTuber an Oscars category? No, but I don't know. I guess it could be.
No, we're gonna.
It'd be
through
hard to pick
social
one.
Yeah, I think anybody.
Some of the categories, some of the awards, it's gonna be like the Oscars, like best Vampire
Final.
of the Year, best zombie, best final girl, best movie of the year. Some of them will be chosen by our patrons over on our Patreon page, Horror Addicts TV /Patreon. Some of them will be chosen by our friends on Twitter, if you guys follow us on Twitter. And some of them just, I don't know, by us.
Maybe if social network of Twitter, probably. And then some by us, and I think some by a couple of our YouTube friends who are planning to help us.
And I see a new face in the chat, Parvis Magna. Nice to meet you.
So.
But yeah, we've been talking about new movies for like 3 hours. You ready to wrap it up?
Yep.
Do you guys have any more questions in the chat? I think we're about ready to call it a night because we've been streaming a lot the last 48 hours after the crawl. So yeah, I think we're pretty much done with this month's wrap up. We will be back as we're going to make this a regular thing. We will be back next month where we just talk about the movies that we've seen this month that maybe we didn't get a review. So look for that next month. And also every month we do a movie commentary with our Patreons.
Yep. And hopefully we'll have other content commentary with Brian Barnes in the near future.
Actually, Matt Reyes, I'm really excited that you mentioned that because we actually are bringing in other horror tubers as presenters. We were going to do the Oscars as a live stream.
Yep.
But we've already got a lot of people who will be presenting the awards. So we'll play the video where you'll see a horror tuber like Brian Barnes or somebody going,
Reaper, maybe
and the
soon,
nominees are, and then they'll tell you who the winner is. So it's going to be an event. We might even dress up, get a little dolled up. Who knows?
Yep, we've asked a few people, and with the crawl going on, everybody didn't be able to get right back to us, which is fine. The crawl was a crazy thing that took up a lot of people's time, but so right now we're working on this, and hopefully we'll hear back.
Are any horror tubers you would like to see as presenters? Definitely let us know. I know I really would love to ask Dead Real, The Death Twitch, Dice Rollin', Jason Takes Omegle. If any of you guys would love to be presenters, we would love to have you. So certainly message me on Twitter and we will make this happen.
If you could just make out.
Or Dr. Wolfula, even though he's like a celebrity.
Hey, they were asking for collab earlier, so.
Dr. Wolfula, if you want to present an award on the Oscars, that would kind of make my day.
If not, no worries for anybody.
It's cool. You're famous.
We've already asked a few people, and not everybody has been able to say yes yet. So
it's cool.
They're not even on that big. But anyways.
Count Jacula, Alasia. Count Jacula is my horror brother. I can make that happen.
Yep. So, all right, gang. We love you.
Awesome. Nightmare Maven. Yeah, definitely I can get Nightmare Maven for sure. We're buddies. So, there. We got Count Dracula, Nightmare Maven as request, and Dice Rollin' says she's on board. So, she's one of my new favorites right now. Holy balls!
Oh, sweet.
Dr. Wolfula said he'd do it.
We'll have to come up with a good category for him.
Thank you, Dr. Wolfula.
Screaming Soup's probably going to be doing Best Animated Horror of last year. They said they probably could, so we had the crawl going on, so we have to double check. But
Alacy, I have really enjoyed you as a guest on Jacula's stream, so if you ever do actually decide to start making videos, I would support the crap out of that. So
this is a very supportive.
Eric says he'll present his balls. I don't know if that's a category, Eric.
He's got some balls. We know that.
He's got the biggest balls of them all.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for checking this out. We've enjoyed chatting with you, and we will see you for another one of these monthly wrap-ups next month. Huge thank you to everyone who joined us in the chat. Rogue Reaper, Alasia, Dice Rollin', Dead Real, Steven Atkins, Eric from the Death Twitch, Jason Takes Omegle, and of course, Dr. Wolfula.
Thank you. We are
and
humbled with your
Savage Rock and Roll
Savage
and
Rock and
Doc.
Roll, sweetest guy, Doc. I got that pickle video to put up right away. So
Isabel, best dong of the year. You know what, Isabel? I love this idea. Matt Reyes, thank you guys so much. We appreciate your support. We love talking to you guys, and we'll be back with another one of these next month. Thanks for watching.